This is a higgledy feast. There's plenty of this, and this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgledy. Baked generously. This is a higgledy feast. There's plenty of this, and this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgledy. Baked generously. This is a higgity feast. There's plenty of this, and this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgity. Baked generously. This is a higgity feast. There's plenty of this, and this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgity. Baked generously. This is a Higgity feast. There's plenty of this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgity. Baked generously.
Quarterfinals. Mind you, we've been saying that for a number of matches already, and they won at Canterbury last night, so they must win here today and then hope that things go their way in the other games that are being played tomorrow. In terms of team news, unsurprisingly, Sussex unchanged from the side that won last night. Sussex have won the toss and they're going to bat first.
Thanks, Adrian. At North, Australia lead has stretched beyond 300 on day 4 of the second Ashes test. England
of T20 cricket. My name is Adrian Harms. I'd like to be joined by Ed Seaborn, who has travelled up from Gloucester. Hi, Ed. Good to see you.
Good, whatever it is. It's afternoon, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, it's afternoon. Hence the sun is out. Well, it's not quite out, but anyway,
Yeah.
we're pretty good, I think, weather-wise, which is not a surprise. Every time I come to Hove, the weather's great.
Oh, really? Well, that's good news. It's funny because you say, oh, is it good afternoon? What is it? Because there's been so much cricket recently, so much
Yes.
T20, and Sussex last night finished over the border in Canterbury. We didn't finish until gone 10 o'clock last night. So by the time everybody got home and got to bed, then the players waking up and thinking, oh, we've got another game to play today. So it has been a quick turnaround. This is Sussex's last match in the group stages. Gloucester with one more to play tomorrow at Hampshire, just along the coast. But it's an intriguing game in that Sussex, who we thought were out of the competition 2 weeks ago, having lost an awful lot of games, have suddenly gone on a little run. They've won their last 3. And the way that results went last night, it means that if Sussex were to win today, and if results go their way tomorrow in the games between Somerset and Kent and Surrey and Essex, in other words, those sides don't win, there's a chance, and it will be on run rate, that Sussex could qualify for the quarterfinals. For weeks and weeks we've been saying, oh yeah, well, it's a long shot, but it's becoming a little bit more of a reality now. So that's from a Sussex perspective, who are unchanged here from last night and have won the toss, going to bat. In terms of Gloucester, I think probably a bit of surprise, because I always think Gloucester are a good T20 side, so it hasn't quite happened for them this season.
No, it hasn't. I mean, they've been trying to paper over some cracks left by a few players who've departed for pastures new or pastures old in a couple of cases, with Benny Howell returning to Hampshire and Ryan Higgins returning to Middlesex. So it's a bit of a different look. You've lost some of the all-rounders in that middle order. You've lost Ian Cobain, your all-time T20 leading run scorer. So a bit of a fresh look to this Gloucestershire side. There are a couple of 22-year-olds in the top order, Ben Wells and Ben Charlesworth, who've both impressed at times in the campaign, but as I'm sure you know probably as well as any commentator on the circuit at the moment, when you've got young players, you know that there's going to be inconsistency in there as well, and we've seen a bit of inconsistency, and also just the South group's tough, man. It's tough.
It really is tough. Actually, I ought to just say, do a quick around the ground, because people may be listening on their heads. So I've got a couple of waves coming from the top deck of the Spenkarma Pavilion. So the good news is the commentary is going out both on the Sussex Cricket Club live stream and around the ground, and on the BBC website as well. So wherever you're listening from, maybe in Brighton, or maybe down in Bristol, or Gloucestershire, or maybe around the world, a very good afternoon. I guess from a Sussex perspective, Sussex have been playing pretty carefree cricket in this, because for a long time it looked as if they weren't going to qualify, and so they've just gone out and played really well. There's a bit of pressure today. In terms of Gloucestershire, they've nothing to play for but pride, and I wonder whether sometimes that can work, because I'm sure it's a professional cricket match, and I'm sure Gloucester will want to put on a performance here today.
Yeah, exactly. That is an interesting kind of dynamic to the game, in that Gloucestershire, I guess in terms of positioning in the table, they can still get as far as 6th. So if they were to win their last 2 games, then there's probably quite a decent chance they would leapfrog Sussex, because the net run rate's quite close at the moment. If they were to do that, they would potentially be able to leapfrog Glamorgan as well. So there's a bit to play for in terms of salvaging something from the campaign. 6 wins, 8 losses certainly sounds a lot better than 4 wins and 10 losses. Yeah. But I think from what the camp is saying, they're thinking about it less in terms of results at the moment, which I know annoys people, because they want to see the team winning. And I think, I certainly get that. It's just really they're trying to build something, and build, by the sounds of it, more of a kind of style of playing. And I think sometimes, as we saw in the reverse fixture at Bristol, Gloucestershire are going to fall flat on their faces, and they really did in that game. Sussex dominated from start to finish, and that is what they're going to have to do again here. If they were able to put in that kind of a performance again, then, especially given the fact that they've decided to bat first, they could have scored about 230, 240, or something like that at Bristol if they'd been able to keep going. But obviously Gloucestershire didn't score enough runs for them to get there. But they know that, Sussex know that they can do it against Gloucestershire in terms of piling up that big score and getting a big win, which is what they need. But equally, Gloucestershire, I think, ought to look at it, as you say, from the point of view of the fact that they don't have much to lose, and they're trying to, as I say, they're trying to look towards next year and what's to come, rather than just the 2 games in these final 2 days as far as their blast campaign goes.
Yeah, and also I do wonder as well, as the players come out, Gloucestershire in their yellow tops, very bright yellow tops, and their dark trousers coming wandering out to the middle. The 2 umpires making their out as well, Rob White and Anthony Harris. I also think as well, and it's sort of a bit of a football-y term really, which I make no apologies for, but sometimes it's about winning a couple of games, get some confidence. I mean, the county championship is still wide open. There's the 50 over competition to come as well. And if you're going into competitions thinking, oh, we're in awful form, sometimes a couple of wins can buoy everybody, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem quite as bad as it did before.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from Gloucestershire's perspective, you think back to last year, and Sussex supporters will remember the game here, which was it was a really terrific game of cricket. But Gloucestershire had come into it off the back of a really rather dismal start to their championship campaign. For one reason or another, they'd not won a game coming into that, and they'd also just missed out on T20 qualification as well, so confidence wasn't particularly high. And I think they came here, lost a game to Sussex that ended up being one of the couple of games that really haunted them at the back end of the campaign, when they could have made the quarterfinals. But this was one game that you look back on and thought, well, if that game were played at the end of the campaign for Gloucestershire, then maybe things would be different. So I think, like you say, it is about taking confidence from these games, if you're Gloucestershire, into what's still to come this season, and the 50 over cup is a chance for them.
Well, it's going to be David Payne who's going to open the bowling from the Cromwell Road, and now immediately, and this is unusual, Gloucestershire have got 2 slips in place. It's going to be Harrison Ward who's going to be taking strike, and it's going to be Payne who's running down the hill from the Cromwell Road. And on a cloudy afternoon here at Hove, comes in and bowls, and Ward lets that go outside the off stump, taken by keeper Bracey, and there is no run. There are patches of blue. The weather forecast is good. I don't think we're going to see any rain, so hopefully we'll get an uninterrupted game of T20 cricket. Not the biggest crowd. Friday nights here at Hove sell out, as indeed they did at Canterbury last night. I understand it was packed at the Oval last night, but looks about half full. With the temporary stands at the far end of the ground, as in comes Payne, left arm over the wicket. Oh, and he runs straight through the crease. He caught his foot then, David Payne. I think he's not the fastest approach to the wicket, but he almost seems as if he'd lost his footing.
Yeah.
And umpire signals that's a dead ball.
That looked awkward.
It did.
Payne's coming off ankle surgery as well, so it was a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment for there, but he's fine.
Yeah, it didn't look great. Yeah, it comes in again and bowls, and Ward is forward and plays that into the cover. So 2 dot balls to start off with for David Payne. Just a reminder of those of you who may be joining us, that this is a game that Sussex must win. If they don't win this game, they are definitely out of the competition. If they do win, they're reliant on results in the games tomorrow, with Somerset playing Kent and Surrey playing Essex, and even then it will come down to run rate. Now that slip has immediately come out. Jack Taylor, who's gone now to extra cover, as in comes Payne and bowls wide of the off stump, and that is signalled a wide, as Harrison Ward looked to cut that one away through backward point. So first runs on the board for Sussex.
Yeah, well, Gloucestershire, from basically for the benefit of Sussex listeners, Miles Hammond is now Gloucestershire's T20 captain. Jack Taylor having given up the captaincy a few games into this season, so that's a change as well.
Payne in and bowls outside the off stump. He doesn't time that at all, does Ward, and the ball goes through to Bracey on the bounce. Now, I didn't get a chance to talk to the groundsman before the game to see whether this is a used pitch. It certainly looks like a used pitch, but whether it's been used for T20s, I'm not too sure.
It's quite green.
It is quite green.
It is green, but from my experience coming here, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do masses.
Payne left arm over the wicket, bowls, and Ward works this one away, and he's going to pick up a single to third man. The first runs are on the board, fielded out there by Tom Smith, formerly of Sussex.
Were those genuine cheers, or were they sarcastic cheers for the first run off the bat?
I think they were just cheers for the first run off the bat, which brings Tom Clark onto strike, who's got a big build-up last night, or rather I should say praise from, that's the better word, from Ravi Bopara in the post-match interview. He's had a decent tournament, Tom Clark, made 47 last night before being run out by the skipper, as in comes Payne and bowls, and Clark's beaten outside the offside. It's allowed him, and he's given out. He's given out. I could only imagine he's been given out LBW. because it didn't carry all the way to the wicket-keeper. I don't know if that kept a little low, but Clark is on his way. And in the first over, a wicket goes down, and Sussex are 2 for 1, and Tom Clark is out first ball.
Well, he's been getting beautiful shape as far as his deliveries go so far. Payne has been getting consistent away swing to the left-hander, and that one again just had a nice little hint of movement about it. And I'm not sure, what I think he might have been given out caught behind. It's difficult to tell. He's been beaten, by the looks of things, he's been beaten on the inside edge, so maybe it did just clip his pad, and it just didn't look to me LBW.
It just didn't look to me as if it carried to the wicket-keeper.
Yeah, I must admit I couldn't tell whether it was just half volleyed or if he just caught it, but it's one of those where...
No, he's been given out caught behind.
It was caught behind.
Well, there we are. It must have been the thinnest of edges. So Tom Clark goes first ball, and David Payne picks up a wicket. He's coming in now to bowl to the new man, who's Ollie Carter, and Carter steers onto the onside, and there is no run. This is a very good opening over by David Payne, in which he just concedes the 2 runs at the end of the over. Ward on 1, Carter yet to score, and Tom Clark, who batted so nicely yesterday at Canterbury, out first ball, caught behind off the bowling of David Payne for a golden duck.
So, by my reckoning, there's just the 4 players who played in this fixture last year. No, 5 out of Gloucestershire's 11, so more than half of their team is different. And you also think in terms of change in overseas players as well. Glenn Phillips was absolutely instrumental in Gloucestershire winning both the last 2 years here, but not here anymore. It's Josh Shaw then to bowl from the sea end. He bowls a ball way down the leg side, and Bracey does very well to stretch his arm out to his right hand side along the floor and make sure that it is just the 1 wide. That could easily have been 5, so Sussex are up to 3 for 1. Josh Shaw is actually one of those survivors from that fixture, but he hasn't actually played very much this year. This is only his 2nd game. He's coming round the wicket then to the left-handed Ward, and Ward tries to flick that one away off his pad. There's a strangled appeal for LBW. They might think about 2 here. They're going to go for the 2nd run here to the edge of the circle, and they're going to make it. David Payne coming around from short fine leg, couldn't pick the ball up cleanly. It might have been close if he managed to get a throw off, but they put the pressure on him and he couldn't pick the ball up. So that's 2 leg byes. So still just the 1 run off the bat for Sussex, and they're now 5 for 1. So Gloucestershire's side then, Grant Roelofson, Miles Hammond the captain, Ben Wells and Ben Charlesworth, those 2 22-year-olds in the top order I was mentioning. A Shaw bowls to Ward, flash and a miss outside the off stump, and it goes through to Bracey. Graham Van Buren, Gloucestershire's championship captain. James Bracey, who's behind the stumps. Jack Taylor, Gloucestershire's now former T20 skipper. Payne and Shaw we've seen already. Tom Smith, a name very familiar to county cricket fans everywhere, I think, but particularly to Sussex fans. And then Ajit Singh Dale, who might be a bit less familiar to Sussex fans. And I think he did play in that championship game earlier this season. Shaw bowls over the wicket now to Ward, and Ward's tucked up for room there as Shaw keeps it tight to his body, and the ball goes up the pitch for no run.
Good start. Yes, he bowled really well down at Bristol earlier on this season in that championship match. I was impressed. I thought he bowled quickly as well.
Yeah, he is quick. And Gloucestershire also have Zaman Akhtar, who's made his T20 and championship debut for Gloucestershire since that game against Sussex. He's also got some life about him. Is Shaw bowling, and that's a lovely looking on drive. It's well stopped though by Miles Hammond up at mid-on, stretching that right hand out and parried it really towards Graham Van Buren at mid-off. It's another run off the bat, and it's just the 1, and Sussex are 6 for 1 with 2 deliveries left in the 2nd over.
I was talking about Ollie Carter last night because there's such a turnaround in cricket at the moment. You think earlier on this week, Ollie Carter is battling away for points in the Championship. Sussex going 21 overs at the end in a last wicket partnership to save the game in Cardiff.
His short, bowling to Carter, who pushes up towards mid-off with no timing at all. Looked like he was a little bit surprised, but I mean, a little bit of lift off of full length, even if it was only a small amount. It looked as if it was a bit more than he was expecting.
So it's so strange, isn't it, to go from that 4-day format when you're defending and you're battling away for a draw, then a few days later you're back batting at number 3, looking to smash the ball out the ground. I mean, it's such a short turnaround, and I'm not sure how healthy that is for batting technique.
Here's Shaw bowling to Carter, who clears the left leg and pulls away into the leg side. It's going to go for 4 runs down the hill. Van Buren, if I'm honest, I don't know about you, I didn't think he was running particularly freely though, which is
I agree.
A bit of a concern. He's had this hamstring issue, which has been a little bit ongoing, I think. And I don't know whether he may have just felt that's going for 4 down the hill, I don't need to chase it. But Graham Van Buren is normally one of those that will sprint after any ball just as an excuse to get the legs moving. I didn't think he was moving freely there. 10 for 1 after 2 overs, Sussex.
No, I would completely agree with you, because I thought that could have almost been cut off. I mean, it does roll away very quickly down the hill. Just an update in the test match for those of you keeping half an ear on that as well. Australia now 238 for 5, leading by 329. Alex Carey, who spent a couple of seasons down here at Hove, a fine player. He's 20 not out, and a very good wicketkeeper as well. He's an excellent cricketer.
I see they brought Ben Stokes on to try and break that partnership. I mean, they'd hope to. I mean, it's easier said than done. Of course, Lyon presumably won't bat, but it's going to be difficult just to rattle through them.
In comes Ajit Dale, bowls, hits on the pad is Harrison Ward. The ball bounces out onto the onside, and there is no run as the sun breaks through here at Hove on live cricket on the BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Bristol, and BBC Radio Gloucester. And the ground is filling up actually. The southwest corner, way to our left-hand side, the big open stand is pretty well packed now.
I don't think you're in danger of drowning today either, Adrian. I mean, there's certainly enough lifeguards here.
Yeah.
There's quite a large group of.
Yes, I think they must be on a stag do.
Up on the top of that stand there. Yeah.
In comes Dale bowls, and Carter's bowled, and that's a terrific. He's beaten him for pace. I said how quickly he bowled down at Bristol, and that was a really quick delivery. And Ollie Carter, looking to hammer the ball away over long on, was totally done for pace. The ball hits the top of the stump, and Carter is on his way. So Sussex are 2 wickets down, and we're only in the 3rd over. 11 for 2. Carter is on his way, and that's a fine start by Gloucestershire.
Well, if you want
quick delivery down the hill.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want an indication of how quick that delivery was, the ball flew off the top of the stumps and then only just bounced inside the boundary rope before going over it. It nearly went all the way over. So that's how much pace there was on the ball. It just hit the top of the stumps and just flew off. And this is kind of the first... Well, it's the first look I've got at Singdale in the T20 from more ground level. He played his first game against Somerset the other night at Taunton. I think actually pulled his figures back quite well after a couple of expensive overs to start with. But he's somebody that really excites you as far as T20 bowling is concerned, because he's got that pace, but he does actually have quite a handy slower ball. So if he can develop that, then I think he becomes a real prospect.
Well, I thought he was excellent at Bristol in the Championship earlier this season, and that was express pace down the hill. Now, Ravi Bopara made 108 last night, his highest score in T20 cricket, only his 2nd T20 100 in the over 400 games he's played, but he's batted a lot of times down the order. But he's in early here. He faces Dale down the hill bowls, and Bopara defends, played onto the onside. And any question here, he picks up a single, does Bopara, that Gloucestershire may be coming here to sort of make up the numbers because they can't win in the competition, are dispelled in the first 2 overs because Dale is running in really hard. And when he took that wicket, his celebration was of a player, come on lads, let's prove what we can do. So that was, Sussex, who need to win this game if they can have any outside chance of qualification, are up against it. 12 for 2. Ajit Dale from the Cromwell Road end. The pavilion now, the top tier of the pavilion is pretty much packed as well. So maybe 3,500, maybe 4,000 in. It's a decent attendance as Dale is in, bowls, and cut away through backward pointer. He's going to run away for 4 runs from Harrison Ward. Past the fielder there at backward point, has he hurt his shoulder slightly? I think he might have done. Is that Josh Shaw?
Josh Shaw, yeah.
Yeah, it was in the air for a little while, but a boundary to Harrison Ward. And a much needed boundary for Sussex. 16 for 2 in the third over.
Yeah, Harrison Ward, who really absolutely blitzed the chase for Sussex in that reverse fixture, made 51 off just 27 balls, 2 fours, 5 sixes, smashed a window up on the second floor of the apartment.
Jalen bowls, cut away, it's going to be 4 more. Well, is the third man going to get round? Or the third man does get round. There's a good bit of fielding by Smith, who gets in the throw, but it's 2 more to Harrison Ward. The third man was a little wider than I thought. Ward goes to 9, and Sussex to 18 for 2.
Yeah, and it was a good way up. Second floor of the flats, big dent in the window,
Wow.
and he really did hit the ball so murderously hard in that innings. And Gloucestershire, they actually recovered quite well from 109 for 9 to get 140, but it was nowhere near enough.
Dale, and again bowled. Ward is forward. Another pacey delivery, played to short extra cover. There is no run. There's a good over from Ajit Dale. He's conceded the 7 runs, but it was a pacey over in which he picked up the wicket of Ollie Carter, who was bowled for 4. So 18 for 2. In fact, that's 8 off the over. My apologies. And Bopara is on 1. Ward is on 9.
So looks as though it'll be sure to get a second over, and Gloucestershire have got the 3 seamers plus potentially some of Ben Charlesworth. He's still, I think, learning the trade as far as T20 bowling is concerned, as Charlesworth might get the odd over here or there. Like I say, you're looking a little bit towards the future as well as just the now. If you're Gloucestershire, here comes Shaw, bowls wide of off stump, and a flail and a miss outside the off stump by Bopara. I think he'd be quite cross that he's missed out there, because there was quite a lot of width on offer and he just couldn't get it away.
He didn't miss a thing last night, Ravi Bopara. He was in just imperious form. 396 runs in the competition. He's averaging 39. As I say, it was majestic last night. But he said sometimes in T20 it happens and sometimes it doesn't. You know, he's played a lot of cricket in this format down the years.
Here's Shaw bowling to Bopara, who drives neatly, but only as far as extra cover. There's a misfield there from the miscreant Ben Wells, but it's only... In fact, it's not even going to cost them a run. They didn't come through for a single off that misfield. He got away with it.
I wonder if it's not that easy to score out there, but Bopara looks like he's having a little trouble maybe timing the ball, or maybe the fact you've lost a couple of... Sussex have lost a couple of wickets. It always reins everybody in the power play.
Bopara then waiting calmly for Shaw to come in and bowl. He shimmied down the pitch and sliced this one down towards wide third man for 4 runs. So he got away with quite a short delivery with a lot of width on it earlier on in the over, but he gave Bopara a second look, and Bopara wasn't going to miss out. It wasn't quite your classic languid Bopara, but it still was 4 runs, 22 for 2.
Yes, I'm not sure it went quite where Ravi Bopara intended. I guess the interesting thing here from Sussex is they need to win the match first of all, and the run rate will follow. I guess that's that. You know, there's a slight conundrum here for Sussex.
In comes Shaw, bowls to Bopara, tightens up his line. Bopara drives, nice looking shot past extra cover. It'll be a couple of runs, that should be all, and is yet more work for Tom Smith to do around the boundary. And 24 for 2, Sussex with Bopara up to 7. Just looks to me as if he's just taking a few deliveries here, even if the previous one did go for 4. Just still checked that drive a bit, that delivery. And I think just realising how important his wicket is here, given, as you say, Sussex have lost these 2 early ones. Shaw bowls now to Bopara, who flicks at that one and misses it, but it goes off his pad and down to Bracey, who's able to stop it. So that's another one, I think, that Gloucestershire will probably feel they've got away with, especially with fine leg up. Just a little touch from Bopara, and that's 4 runs all day long.
I mean, he is absolutely key to Sussex in this format of the game. So when you're the leading run scorer, averaging best part of 40, and over 400 runs in the tournament so far.
Last ball of the 4th, Shaw bowls a low full toss. Bopara drives past mid-on. Van Buren's dives in vain, and it goes for 4. So he didn't manage to come out of the over completely unscathed. It was quite a tasty full toss, that one, and Bopara just content to time it, and timed it for 4 runs, no chance for Van Buren at mid-on. And the end of over number 4, Sussex 28 for 2, just beginning to recover a little with a couple of boundaries in that over.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 runs in the over. Now, Graham Van Buren is coming into the... it's not. It's going to be... I think it's Payne who's going to come back. I think it is Payne. I thought Van Buren was going to bowl, but it is going to be David Payne. If you've just joined us, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Live Cricket on the BBC. Adrian Harms and Ed Seaborn from BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Gloucestershire. You may be watching via the Sussex Cricket Club live stream, or indeed listening around the ground. Wherever you're doing, wherever you're listening from, a very good afternoon as David Payne comes down the hill from the Cromwell Road and in his yellow top bowls to Harrison Ward, who clubs that down the ground. Is he going to be caught? No, it's not. Van Buren chases back from it off slips, but eventually gets in the throw. So it wasn't timed by Harrison Ward. Nonetheless, he picks up a couple of runs when the 5th of the 20 overs. So one more over after this one, and then the field can spread. But for the time being, just 2 fielders outside of the 30-yard circle. They're at deep backward square and long on, way up the far end of the ground. As Payne is in, bowls to Ward, who clips towards that fielder at long on. It's going to race away. I'm not sure it's going to go for 4. I think it will, you know. Yes, it does. Well, if the ball seemed to pick up pace off the turf, then he didn't time that as well as he might, Harrison Ward, but it was well placed. And all runs away for 4 runs. So 6 off the over so far. Good start for Ward. He goes to 15.
Yeah, it's the captain, Miles Hammond, down at long on. And if anyone was going to get there in this side, it was probably going to be him. And he did quite well even to get some sort of a hand on it to try and flick it back, but couldn't do so. Again, it's just a bit of timing there from Ward. The one that he tried to muscle didn't really get, but just content to time that one over the infield, and it worked to a treat.
Payne in again, bowls to Ward, who plays this one back of square on the leg side. Straight to Rulofson coming in from deep backward square to field.
I think it works a treat or works to a tee, doesn't it? But never mind.
One more to Ward, who goes to 16. Sussex to 35 for 2 in the 5th over. Brings Ravi Bopara on strike. David Payne, tall left arm, over the wicket, in bowls. Bopara just nurdles that one to backball point. Throw comes in, it misses the stumps. Throw coming in from Ben Wells. Well backed up though by Taylor. And one more to Bopara. He goes to 12 off 8. The Sharks to 36 for 2.
I would say, whilst it's dry, this is the first time I've come here where it hasn't been unbroken sunshine. I've been absolutely spoiled with my trips to Hove so far over the years. Nice. But it's fine. It's absolutely lovely out there.
In goes Payne bowls. Harrison down the wicket, drives. Is it going to be caught? No, it just goes over mid-wicket. It's going to run away for 4 runs. So he took a chance there, did Harrison Ward. Again, he looked at his bat as if to say he didn't quite middle that. But he's pulled it away over mid-wicket for 4 runs. So it's turning into a relatively expensive over here from David Payne. 2 boundaries, 12 off the over so far. Sussex go to 40 for 2. Harrison Ward on to 20 of just 16 balls.
Kept Charlesworth interested for a long time, didn't he? But he was standing there, kind of almost willing the ball to get closer to him, but it was always just going over him.
Payne in again, ball pulled away. Now, is he going to be caught, or is it going to go for 6? I think it's going to go for 6. Yes, it has gone for 6. Well, it's pulled away. It was short. Harrison Ward tucked inside the line and heaved the ball over mid-wicket for 6 runs. So a very expensive over in the end from David Payne. And Sussex are recovering from losing those 2 early wickets. They're 46 for 2, and that was an over that cost 18.
Yeah, and a rare expensive over from Payne. And I think, like you said, that Ward took a chance off the previous delivery. Payne took a chance there because he'd shown him the short ball the previous ball, and I think he just thought, well, I got the miscue out of it, so let's bang it into the pitch and see if I can get a second miscue in a row. But unfortunately, all he did was, a bit like Bopara in the previous over, he gave him a second go at lining up the same delivery, and line it up he certainly did. That was much more like the kind of striking that we saw from Harrison Ward in what was his maiden T20 50 at Bristol.
At Bristol, yeah. I mean, he's threatened to make big scores, Harrison Ward, but often seems to get to 20, 30 and get it up. But he does hit a long ball.
Certainly does. So, change of ends for Ajit Singh Dale. He's going to bowl the last over of the power play. He's going to start off with a full toss, which is driven hard by Bopara, but straight to Miles Hammond at mid-off. There's no run. There's another full toss, which Bopara's missed out rather on. So if the theme continues for Gloucestershire, tidy first overs and expensive second overs, then this could still be an excellent power play for Sussex if they can get that score up towards the 60 mark. But I think the most important thing is they keep it at 2 wickets down from their point of view. That's chipped high up into the air, but it's going to be caught in the end. Charlesworth comes in from mid-wicket and takes the catch, and Singdale's off again. And maybe the change of pace there, getting Bopara, and that's a huge wicket with just a few deliveries to go in the power play, and I thought Charlesworth wasn't going to get there for a moment, but as the previous ball that went over his head in the last over seemed to kind of hang and go over his head, that one seemed to hang up just about for him, and Ajit Singdale has got his second wicket and Sussex 46 for 3.
Well, it's always a massive wicket in T20 when Bopara is out. You feel that the batting kind of hinges around Bopara, and he plays all sorts of innings. Last night, he's 108, but he's played other innings where he's played 30, 40, and others have made runs around him. So someone else is going to have to do it. Now, it's going to be Shadab Khan who's come in, who made 87 down at Cardiff the night after last Friday night, after Sussex had won at Bristol. And he made 20 odd, didn't he, at Bristol?
No, so he finished that game off, didn't he? I was just going to have a look at that again. 28 off 14 balls, with a couple of fours and a couple of sixes.
Now he is playing with stitches in his left hand, and it is quite heavily bandaged where the webbing was injured. But quite a lot depending on him now, because Sussex were 3 back in the hutch and we're still in the power play. It's not an ideal start for the Sharks.
No, they really can't afford to lose another one quickly, you wouldn't think. So Singdale in to bowl to Shadab. That's slingy action, bowls with decent pace. It's worked away into the leg side out towards square leg. Charlesworth is again called into action, and it's an easy single. 47 then for 3 Sussex. In the last 2 years that Gloucestershire have come here, Gloucestershire have been about 35 for 4.
Yes.
And it was Phillips and Taylor that recovered things both years. Kind of remarkably similar batting innings for Gloucestershire, but you wonder if they're not careful, they've got to keep taking wickets, is what I'm getting to. Singdale over the wicket to bowl. There's a decent delivery again from Singdale. It was a brief inquiry for leg before wicket, but I think the ball would have pitched outside leg stump, but they'll get a leg by out into the offside, and it's 48 for 3.
And for the benefit of our Sussex listeners, Singdale was at Hampshire before, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started his career at Hampshire, didn't play very much, played, I think, a couple of first-class games, one of them being against the university.
He played here,
side.
I think, in a 50-over game.
In comes Singdale and bowls, full, punched away up towards mid-off. Hammond comes in quickly and sends the throw in, hits direct, but well home was Bopara. 1 run added to the total of 49 for 3. Shadab, was it? My apologies,
that's right.
It was. Yeah.
That's right. I just remember him bowling in that game, and he was a little wild, but I just remember thinking he was good and he was quick and he was strong, and I think he's a really good signing for Gloucestershire. I really do.
Yeah, I think from speaking to Kevin James about him, he's actually put on a yard since he joined Gloucestershire. Kevin actually was a bit surprised how much pace he had, having seen him before. Singdale bowls, good delivery in the block hole, and Ward tries to force it away through the offside, but he finds Charles with an extra cover. So the theme certainly didn't continue in that over, with expensive second overs for the Gloucestershire Seamers. What's that? Just 3 runs total off it, including a leg by as well, plus the massive wicket of Bopara. So Singdale has now bowled 2 overs, 2 for 10, and the power play is done with Sussex 49 for 3. So runs wise, not too bad, but they've lost 1 more wicket now than they would have liked to.
And it looks like it's going to be Tom Smith who's going to take over the Gloucestershire attack from the top end of the ground, the Cromwell Road end. A very good afternoon wherever you're listening from. On BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Gloucester and Bristol, Adrian Harms, Ed Seaborn. This is Sussex's last game in the group stages. 1 more game for Gloucester tomorrow, just along the coast in Southampton, against Hampshire, who have pretty much qualified for, they've got sort of 1 foot in the quarterfinals, but still games to be played tomorrow, and there's been the great thing about the tournament this year, I think, Ed, in the Southern Group, is that the best teams are going to qualify because we're not going to get a tournament interrupted by weather, where teams have picked up points through not playing, and it's the schedule's been manic, but the weather has been excellent throughout the T20 Blast this season, and that's really good news. Now,
not a single game in the entire South Group completely rained off.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably never happened before. Tom Smith into the attack from the Cromwell Road end. He's in and bowls to Shadab Khan, who plays to short extra cover, and there is no run. Good start from Tom Smith.
Of course, the Roses match completely washed out last night. Really sad to see. It's one of those fixtures you always
been a big crowd there as well.
General county cricket fan,
Smith again. Under cloudy skies, he's in and bowls to Khan, who drives straight down the ground to long off. It's just a single to Shadab Khan. Sussex looking to rebuild here. The massive loss of Bapara, who was out for 12. Good catch by Charlesworth coming in from cover. Now, what's happening here? Shadab getting a new bat. I think Daniel Ibrahim's bringing out a new bat. Harrison Ward is in deep conversation with James Bracey, who's behind the stumps. He's just surveying that leg side field. Now, Gloucestershire able to have 5 men outside of the 30-yard circle. Tom Smith is going to come over the wicket to the left-handed Harrison Ward, trying to make it difficult for him to pull it onto that leg side. In he comes, bowl. And Ward looks to thump that one right through. In fact, it's single wide. Taken well by Bracey, who whipped off the bounce. That was a good bit of wicket keeping.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he had a couple of stumpings in that game here last year to James Bracey. It just looks as if there was a little bit of drift through the air from Smith, potentially.
Comes in and bowls, and Ward eases that down the ground. Sussex just needing to rebuild, having lost those 3 wickets. A single to Ward, who's goes to 27 off 20 balls. The Sharks 52 for 3. A breezy afternoon here on the south coast. You can see the Sussex flag fluttering away, or billowing away, I should say, on the top of the clock tower scoreboard. And most of the blue sky has disappeared. As in comes Smith, bowls to Shadab, who's caught a bowl. That's a really good catch by Tom Smith. It was drilled back by Shadab Khan, whose inconsistency with the bat continues. He made that very good 80-odd down at Glamorgan, but he's just drilled the ball straight back, and that's a good catch by Tom Smith. Smart catch to his left-hand side, and Sussex in trouble here with Shadab and Bapara both back in the pavilion, and some rebuilding work to be done here for the Sharks.
He does seem to like coming back here, doesn't he, Tom Smith? He's just flighting it that nice amount, and just from watching Smith, sometimes if he gives it a bit too much air, then he really can start to be lined up. But equally, Smith's strength is the fact that he is quite brave in that he will give it that little bit of air, and he just looks to be flighting it exactly the right amount in his early spell here. And it was, I think, just that little bit of flight that's got Shadab there. He's played a slightly odd shot, actually. It's kind of, I don't really know how to describe it. It was kind of a hard-wristed slap, but he's not got it up and over the bowler, nor played it wide enough down to long off to get a single. It was a bit difficult to tell whether he was trying to hit a boundary or whether he was trying to hit a single, and ended up somewhere in between the two and out court.
Yes, well, a good return catch though, well taken by Tom Smith. So Sussex in a bit of trouble here, 52 for 4 in the 7th. Smith in around the wicket, bowls, and Burgess tucks his way on the leg side, picks up a single, and Sussex have to do a bit of this now, because to lose any more wickets at this stage.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that I guess you were kind of a bit concerned about as a Sussex fan, because there's got to be the knowledge of everybody coming in that they've got to get some sort of a total here in order to bowl Gloucestershire out and improve their net run rate, but that puts pressure on. Smith
in, bowls to Ward, who clips this on the onside, down to long on. It's just going to be another single, and it's a very good over by Tom Smith. At the end of the over, the Sharks are 54 for 4, so just 5 runs coming off of the over. But an over that saw the demise of Shadab Khan, who was caught and bowled by Tom Smith.
I have some Sussex-related news, which even non-Sussex supporters might enjoy. Cameron Green is out.
Oh, good.
Caught Duckett bowled Robinson for 18, so that's Robinson's first wicket. I mean, he's bowled 10 maidens in 23 and a half overs as Robinson, but he's got the wicket of green now, 239 for 6.
So that's the
Australia, so lead of 330. But outside chance if they can take the last presumably 3 quickly. I don't know if Lyon will bat. Anyway, here it's Graham van Buren bowling a shortish delivery, which Ward has tried to pull away but hasn't got, and it's another dot as Bracey knocks it down behind the stumps. Van Buren is in the bowls, and that's tucked away out towards deep mid-wicket, and it'll be a single for Ward, who'll move on to 29, 55 for 4. So really Ward now, he's got to be he's got to be there deep into the innings, hasn't he?
No, I agree. And actually, from a Sussex perspective, you can't always rely on your Baparas. Perhaps this is good for Sussex to see who else can come to the party.
Burgess facing up. Round the wicket comes Van Buren with his slow left arm again, and that's worked away out towards deep square by Burgess, and he'll pick up a single. I was curious to see how Gloucestershire would navigate through these middle overs tonight, because in the game against Somerset, where they had a slightly different balance because they had the extra seamer, Van Buren bowls round the wicket, and trying to whip this one away leg side is Ward, but the ball just dribbles up the surface for Van Buren to field, so it's another dot. I think they left themselves in a situation where Van Buren actually had to bowl the last over, which is not ideal really in a T20. Ward again is looking just to flick this one away into the onside for a single, but he's not laid bat on that, I don't think, or at least if he has, he's only got a bit of an inside edge onto his pad, and it's another dot.
Doesn't look easy here to get the ball away, does it?
It's been a good start from Van Buren, he's dropped another one in short, but it's not got up very much, and Ward had to curb his ambitions slightly and just pull it out to deep square for a single. So 57 for 4, Sussex after 8 overs, and I think that's just 3 runs off Van Buren's first over.
Well, at the end of the 5th over, Sussex were 46 for 2. So they've only scored in the last 3 overs 11 runs, and they've lost 2 wickets. And 2 of those to spin, which is interesting. So it will be Tom Smith who's going to carry on bowling to Harrison Ward. As Ed was saying, you feel here that Ward is very important for Sussex to go deep in this innings. In comes Smith over the wicket, bowls to Ward, who gives that a bit of air outside of the off stump. He looks at the umpire then. I think Tom Smith thinks he was probably a little fortunate to get away with it. It was the way he sort of waited a bit, then he turned round as if to say, has he given a wide? But I reckon it was right on the line.
Yeah, Bracey was looking a little bit sheepish behind the stumps because he didn't throw the ball immediately back to Smith. He had a couple of goes.
Smith in again, bowls. Ward hammers this one away. Is he going to be caught at low? No, he'll go all the way for 6 runs. Big blow from Harrison Ward, heaves the ball away over towards Cow Corner. That's a big shot from Harrison Ward, and Sussex needing a few more of those. That was a good shot. It goes to 36.
And I think the time had probably come, hadn't it? They had a look for a little bit against the slow left armers, and if they're not careful, then Gloucestershire will possibly just try and bowl slow left arm all the way through, so they've got to give Gloucestershire something to think about.
Smith in again, bowls. Ward nudges this one onto the onside. Tom Smith's arms are up. I think he felt he'd breached Ward's defences there, but Ward picks up a single. He goes to 37 of 29, and the Sharks to 64 for 4 in the 9th over here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Gloucestershire and Bristol. Adrian Harms, Ed Seaborn, on a cloudy, breezy afternoon on the south coast in front of a healthy crowd at Hove. Smith is in, around the wicket, bowls, reversed sweep from Michael Burgess, and he doesn't connect at all, fielded by Charlesworth on the edge of the circle. It's a dot ball. It's a favourite shot of Michael Burgess. Looks great when it comes off, not so good when it doesn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, with short third and backward point up as they always are, it's an option if you can try and get it through.
Smith in again, bowls, and it's given us a wide. Even if he's just a little unlucky there, Tom Smith, he was looking to glide that one down the inside. Excellent piece of keeping again by Bracey.
Yeah, he's got those bails off so quickly, hasn't he?
Very good indeed.
Really was.
That was sharp
Russell-like hands there.
Talking about wicket keeping in a moment. As in comes Smith around the wicket, bowls. Burgess fully hit on the pad. I think they've all dribbles out in the offside. There is no run. I saw a film or a clip on social media this week of Ben Folkes doing some warming up at the Oval, keeping wicket and going through routines very quickly. It was extraordinary how good he was.
Who was that put out by Surrey? Apropos of absolutely nothing, I'm sure, after the first Test match.
But it was excellent, you know. But I'm in the camp of the best wicketkeeper should play. In comes Smith, bowls to Burgess. I reckon that's tight. He swings across the line. He thought he got his man. Did Tom Smith. Umpire, is that Harris at that far end? Disagrees. It is the end of the over, apart from the sixth. Tidy enough over from Tom Smith. So after 9 overs, the Sharks are 65 for 4, 8 coming off that over, including a 6.
I am pretty sure that's Rob White at the far end. With,
I think the umpires should have their names on their back.
well, somebody else said this earlier on in the season.
Why don't they? Because you know, not everybody knows who the umpires are. Clearly, I don't.
Well, they need to know which name to chant.
Yes.
As that's the reverse swept to start a new Van Buren over by Ward, but he's not timed it straight to shore at backward point, and there's no run. Just want to see if I could have a look at a replay. Might have been sliding down leg side, that LBW shout to end the last over. Another reverse sweep from Ward. He's only got marginally more bat on this one. It dribbles down towards short third man, and they'll get 1, but no more. 66 for 4. So this the 4th straight over of left arm spin by Gloucestershire. Sussex are trying to, I mean, with these reverse sweeps, they're trying to get after them, but in a kind of a slightly more risk-free way, as that's just nibbled around the corner by Burgess for a single down towards short, fine leg. And I know people will say, well, it's a reverse sweep, it can't be a risk-free shot. But actually, if you tend to look at the stats, the reverse sweep's one of the safest shots in the book now, because you tend to be able to get your front pad outside the line of off stump. As Ward comes forward and just works this one down to long on for one more run. But as long as you don't pick out the fielder, if you play it right, you shouldn't get out to it. But you know, it's one of those things that modern cricketer looks at that shot in a different way. Cut shot from Burgess. Will only find the sweeper on the cover boundary and be another single. So we're 1 delivery shy now of the halfway stage. Sussex 69 for 4. Can Van Buren get out of this over? It'll be another over that he's bowled where he's not conceded a boundary. Reverse sweep from Ward. It's pitched outside leg stump though. He might have got a bit of glove on it anyway. But that is another excellent over from Van Buren. What's his figures now? 2 overs for 7, I think. His figures.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tom Smith 2 overs 1 for 13. Ajit Dale 2 overs 2 for 10. It's only really David Payne whose second over went around the park. He went for 18 in that over. And they're going to change the bowling now from the Cromwell right. So Gloucestershire suddenly in the driving seat, yeah?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. I mean, let's say they'll be mindful of what can happen here because of what they've been able to do the last couple of years. But like I say, the important thing is that they keep finding a way into this Sussex middle to lower order, and Ward is the prize wicket now at 39 from 32. If they can get rid of Ward, I think they will really fancy their chances of having something quite low to defend. But if Ward gets his eye in and starts hitting some more shots like he did last over against Smith with that slog sweep 6, then equally it could still be quite a good score for Sussex on the board. I don't think you'd want to be, from what we've seen so far, I don't think you want to be chasing 165, 170 on this.
Here comes Ajit Dale, bowls to Michael Burgess, who plays the ramp shot, and a good ramp as well. That won't... That's a super shot. I mean, Dale is sharp as well, but it was a premeditated shot from Michael Burgess, all coming fairly straight. He was able to ramp the ball to the left of keeper Bracey and away for 4 runs. Good start to the over for Sussex.
And as we've seen from Joe Root in Test cricket, we know that some people don't really like him doing it, but if you do think that a bowler is just going to be bowling length like Singdale mostly has, and you've got short fine and short third up, then pretty good option. And again, you just need that little bit of bat on it.
73 for 4, Michael Burgess on 8. Dale running down the hill from the Cromwell Road end. He's in and bowls to Burgess, who plays a nice stylish looking cover drive, fielded out by the Clocktail score. Just one more to Burgess. He goes to 9, 74 for 4 in the Test match. Australia 242 for 6. Alex Carey on 21. As Ed was saying, Ollie Robinson's figures, interest for Sussex supporters, 24 overs, 10 maidens. He's just picked up Alex Carey's wicket, actually. Carey's out.
Yeah, 7th wicket.
2 for 44 to Ollie Robinson.
So Australia lead by 3-3-3.
They do. 3 wickets remaining. Carey back in the pavilion. So it's getting interesting at Lord's. A change in the field here. The fine leg is coming up inside the circle. And there's now a deep backward square. Now just adjusting this field for the left-handed Harrison Ward. So he's a shortish third man. As in comes Dale, racing in down the hill. Bowls to Ward, who pulls onto the leg side. That's going to go for 6 runs. Clatters into the Clockdale scoreboard. Too short from Dale, who bowled a very impressive couple of opening overs. That was far too short, and a good over for Sussex. 11 off it so far. More of what the Sharks need.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it was just a nice height for Ward to latch onto, wasn't it? If he bowled it really short and he'd got it up more towards head high, I mean, there's still a chance that Ward would have got it away, especially with fine leg up. There's a chance that just sails away down in towards that area, but it was a bit of a half tracker from Singdale and got the treatment.
Bowls to Ward, and following through, Dale responds well with a good ball length delivery that Ward can't force away into the offside, and Dale fields off his own bowling. No run, 80 for 4, Ward on 45, Burgess on 9.
So on for 250s in quick succession, potentially, against Gloucestershire as well.
Yeah, and he didn't start the competition, Harrison Ward. He's only his 6th game. As in comes Dale, bowls, and Ward drives nicely, handsomely through the covers, picks up a single to the sweeper on the cover boundary. He goes to 46, the Sharks to 81 for 4 in the 11th over here at Hove.
A really sensible shot, that one as well, after having hit the 6.
Yeah, I agree. No, I completely agree. And so often you see this. I think it was last night at Canterbury, Shadab hit a couple of a 6 and a 4, and you think, right, it's 10 off the over. Then he went for another big hit, and if it comes off, it's great. But actually, 11 off the over, that's good for, or 12 off the over now. Dale down the hill, comes in, bowls to Burgess, and Burgess drives into the covers, picks up a single. Tom Smith fields, throws at the stumps, misses. There could be an overthrow here, but there isn't, because Michael Burgess had to run all the way through the crease. So it is the end of the over, an expensive over from Singdale, which costs 13 runs. Sharks are 82 for 4, with Ward on 46, Burgess on 10.
Yeah, I understand why Miles Hammond brought back Singdale there, because he would imagine you don't want to necessarily give him 2 overs at the death. Payne, we'd imagine, would have 2 of the death overs and then potentially 1 each of Shaw and Singdale as well, but he needed to get another over out of him in the middle overs. There was a possibility of him coming back and taking a wicket, which was what they were really after. It didn't quite work out, but he did do well to finish off the over after going for 11 from his first 3 balls. It's Van Buren then to continue, and Burgess is back and wristily turning this one down towards long on, and picks up 1 run. So Van Buren 2 overs and a ball for 8 so far. Just looking to try and get through his spell as quickly as possible. This is just clipped back to the bowler this time by
I kept low,
Ward.
I thought.
Yeah, the few deliveries certainly look as though they have done.
I don't think it's that easy out there, you know.
No. Van Buren is in, drops it short, but again it just doesn't come on very nicely when the spinners are just bowling it into the pitch, and it's flipped out towards deep mid-wicket. 1 run taken.
I think 150, 160 here might not be the worst score in the world, you know.
And that's why I think if you get a boundary early on in the over, then these two can just pull back and take the singles that are on offer. Van Buren to Burgess, tries to swing that one away leg side, doesn't get very much bat on it at all. It rolls out to deep backward square this time, and it's just another single. So 85 for 4. Field changes around again for the left-handed Ward. Van Buren in round the wicket to bowl, and calmly again with the wrists, sending it down towards long on. Here's Harrison Ward to get 1 and move on to 48. So inching his way towards that half century. And the last ball coming up at the 12th
Tidy so far from Van Buren, just the 4 singles.
Again, yeah, I was going to say, again, has not gone for a boundary this over. Can he finish it off? He certainly can, and in some style, with a delivery fired in towards the stumps, and Burgess has to just block it and keep it out. So 4 off that over, and Sussex 86 for 4, with now 8 overs remaining. So far only the 5 bowlers used by Gloucestershire. That's all they have needed, and no surprise to see Tom Smith coming back into the attack either. It was, for my money, always going to be a 1 over experiment of pace, and now they've just got to get through these overs of spin before they start potentially getting lined up towards the back end of the innings.
No, I agree. I mean, Sussex is currently going along at 7 and over, so that's going to give them around about 140. They're going to need a few more than that, but as I think 160 it might not be the worst score today. We shall see. Tom Smith coming in from the Cromwell Road. They're rattling through their overs here, are Gloucestershire. In comes Smith and bowls wide of the off stump, cut away, but only as far as backward point. A slight misfield there by Shaw, but he gets away with it. And it is a dot ball.
I thought it was going to go up and hit him in the face for a moment.
Yes, I did. We might have a radio update shortly. We'll just see how things go. Smith comes in again, left arm over the wicket. Bowls. Oh, that's a horrible ball. It's he's rather lucky to get away with that. Just goes for a single. He almost seems as if he lost his grip on the ball. That was a full toss outside the off stump, and Harrison Ward clubbed it away, but it could have gone anywhere. He goes to 49. Does Ward? Sharks 87 for 4.
I suppose the only thing, I mean, yes, you're right. It did look like it slipped. The only thing was you just wondered whether Smith felt that he might be about to play that slog sweep again. So far, it is wide outside the off stump as possible.
Smith bowls to Burgess. Oh, the reverse sweep for 4 runs. Nice looking shot by Michael Burgess, legitimate shot. He goes to 16 and the Sharks to 91 for 4. Welcome boundary for Sussex.
I mean, in the end, they were going to get one of those away, weren't they?
They were,
and
absolutely.
It had that nice little bit of bounce on it, which meant there was enough length for Burgess to throw his hands through the ball, get it over backward point, and pretty much take those 2 fielders out of the equation.
5 off the over so far. Smith tosses the ball from hand to hand, comes in around the wicket, bowls, and Burgess at it again, and that's going to be 4 more. Well, they didn't change the field, and now I think Tom Smith says, yeah, I'd like a change, please, Skip, because that's a repeat shot from Michael Burgess. 2 nice shots. Exactly the same reverse sweep, just lifts the ball over the infield. He goes to 20, and the Sharks to 95 for 4.
And an even better delivery to try and play that shot off. Just enough width outside the off stump. There was absolutely no risk in it. And they've, like you say, they have to plug that gap now, but that opens up the extra cover region for Burgess now.
They're just changing the field slightly, so in comes Smith around the wicket, bowls, and Burgess is caught. Oh, he's dropped. Oh, that's a really poor drop. That's a very, very poor bit of fielding. It was played straight to, is it Rolofsson who's out there? Rolofsson, and he really should have caught it low to his left-hand side, and that's a really poor drop. Burgess gets a life on 20.
Yeah, I mean, it doubly frustrating because they'd set him up for it by changing the field. That was a shot he had to go for, and they should have had him.
Smith in again, bowls to Burgess, and Burgess turns that down to long on. Yeah, well, nobody means to drop a catch, but at this level, that's a poor drop from Rolofsson. 98 for 4 at the end of the over, so 12 off that Tom Smith over by my reckoning. Is that right? 98 for 4?
Yeah, including those 2 runs off the dropped catch as well. Yeah, that was a sitter, wasn't it? I'm afraid.
Well, it was a sitter. I mean, I was just amazed when he dropped it. I mean, it was to his left-hand side about knee high. It was a straightforward catch. Extraordinary that a professional cricketer puts a catch like that down, but he has. And a life for Michael Burgess, and the scoreboard looking a little healthier for Sussex now. 13 overs gone, 98 for 4. They're now going along at 7.5 an over, which would give them 150.
Yeah, it was a goober, as they say in New Zealand. A goober.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, dolly, sitter, whatever you want to call it. I want to forget that in a hurry.
Well, he will.
So,
drop.
Singdale will bowl out now, which is an interesting move because it effectively means that Shaw and Payne are going to have to bowl through at the death. So it's Singdale to bowl to Burgess. High full toss swung down the ground towards the fielder who can't quite get there, and I think that it has just gone for 6. Yeah, Wells tried to get round from long on, but the ball was just hit too straight, and Burgess has brought up the 100 with that 6.
I'll just pick up commentary just briefly, because I think we're going to have an update to the listeners on BBC Radio. Sussex 100 up, 104 for 4 in the 14th over, as in comes Singdale running away from us, comes in and bowls to Michael Burgess, who's hammering this one away to the offside. More runs here, just a single on this occasion, fielded there by Miles Hammond. One more to Michael Burgess. The 50 partnership up between these two. They came together, it was 52 for 4. So now put on 53 for this 5th wicket. Harrison Ward on the verge of his 2nd half-century of the competition. Just surveys the field. Spreads. 3 men. They're going to have 4 men inside the circle here on the offside. At Gloucestershire, so no one long off. You won't want to bowl another full toss, will Singdale, as runs away from us. In and bowls to Ward, who tucks this nicely off the hip down towards fine leg. They've taken one. There ought to be a comfortable second. There is a comfortable second in place, and a half-century for Harrison Ward. Very well played as well. 51 of 42 deliveries. And Sussex to 107 for 4. Yes, and the applause around the ground, Sophia, is for a half-century for Harrison Ward, the Sussex opener, who's batted very nicely. 51 of 42 deliveries. The Sharks recovering. At one stage they were 52 for 4. Now 107 for 4 in the 14th over. Michael Burgess there, he's on 30. So these two have added a partnership so far of 55. Sussex 107 for 4 in the 14th. In comes Dale Bowles, pulled away by Ward. More runs here. It's just going to be, a couple of runs, and Ward goes to 53. We'll just take our things out for a moment. So Ward goes to 53, 109 for 4. I'll hand commentary back to. Shall I hand it back at the end of the over? Is that
yeah, right, go on then. Yeah, I'm
perhaps that's the
bothered either way.
Perhaps that's the best way to do it. Ward waits. Dale is now gone for Ward. 11 in this over. He's in, bowls, and right up in the block. That's a good delivery. Played to mid-off, fielded by. Who's that coming in front of us? It is Ben Wells.
Yeah.
Just a single, 110 for 4.
I've been really impressed with the way these two have approached things, because it would have been easy to really lose your head and you just hit a couple of boundaries and you think, right, we're away here, we're going to try and score 180, 190, whatever. But I think they've really assessed conditions, and if you weren't in the right mindset just to block that one for a single, then you'd probably have been seeing stumps and bails flying.
Dale in bowls to Burgess, hammers that one away. Is he going to be caught? No, he's not. It just drops short of the fielder sweeping on the cover boundary, who is Jack Taylor. End of the over. Good over for Sussex. 10-13 off of the over by my reckoning. 111 for 4 at the end of the over. Yeah, that was indeed 13 off the over. So Sussex now going along best part of 8 and over. 6 overs to go. You know where it's going to go from here. I mean, 111 for 4 could become 180 for 4. It could be 150 for 9. You know, these are the crucial overs, aren't they? When you don't want to go too hard too soon. On the other hand, you feel that 160 will be, I think, a good score on this pitch. So, and Tom Smith's going to bowl the next over.
Yeah, so they've still got 2 overs of spin to try to get through of Gloucestershire. Smith 3 overs, 1 for 25, and Van Buren 3 overs for just 11. And it is Smith to bowl to Burgess. He's just adjusting that offside field. And Smith is into bowl, going early for the reverse hit is Burgess. That is a remarkable shot. He's got that in the gap between cover and extra cover, and Ben Charlesworth has got the double teapot out staring at Michael Burgess to say, you can't do that. Yeah. That's not fair.
Well, he's played it on a couple of occasions, well, 3 or 4 occasions, but he's choosing where he plays the shot. I think Tom Smith wants another change to that leg side field. That's 3 boundaries in the last couple of overs. Yeah, they're going to put another man back on the leg side. I think he's playing that reverse sweep Selflin, as you say, but he should be out, really. I mean,
yes, exactly. That's the frustration. He's already added 15 runs since being dropped. He's really accelerated.
A really poor drop.
So now they've got, well, they actually just changed it. They've got a cover in the ring, and they've got extra cover and backward point out on the boundary, and long on has come up. Smith in bowls, Burgess drives, will find that deep extra cover who they've just put out there, and it will just be the one run, 116 for 4. But you'd think they've got themselves in a position now, thanks to this partnership, where they should not fall short of 160 at least. Whether they can get more than that will depend on the finish, but Gloucestershire's death bowling, David Payne aside, I mean, you could see how it could go. This is swung mightily down the ground. He's not got it, though. Long on should take the catch, and does. And that's a big wicket for Tom Smith and for Gloucestershire. He was trying to target that long on area that's been a really good part of the ground for him to target. He's hit, I think, all 3 of his 6s in that area as Harrison Ward, but he just got underneath this one. And I think it was Hammond coming in off the long on boundary and got himself underneath it, judged it well, never really looked like he was going to drop it. So a second wicket for Smith, and the end of Ward, who played very nicely there for his second half century in as many matches against Gloucestershire.
And it was Miles Hammond who took the catch. And as you say, an important wicket at an important time, because if that goes for 6, Ward is, he's still in, and you're then now you've got a new player coming out. I'm wondering who's come in, whether it is going. Oh, it is Finn Hudson-Prentice. I wonder whether it might have been Nathan McAndrew who might have come in, but they've gone with Finn Hudson-Prentice. But a good innings from Harrison Ward. Just perhaps be a little disappointed he didn't go on to play a really, really big innings.
Yeah, I think probably just as he was looking to launch.
I agree.
That was when he decided that he was going to go into absolute top gear, and he was out. Smith then to Hudson-Prentice, who's forward and playing quite carefully off this first delivery out into the covers. Rulofson fields, but because it was really deadened by Hudson-Prentice, it was quite a comfortable single, even though Rulofson was a little bit off the edge of the circle. 117 for 5. Burgess really keep trying to line up the offside with the reverse. No, he tries to go leg side and gets it past the dive of mid-on. Wells will not bring it in, nor will the fielder coming around from deep mid-wicket. And although he didn't hit that one particularly sweetly, he just targeted the right area of the ground. And again, he's just playing the field here, is Burgess. He moves to 40, 121 for 5.
Yeah, Michael Burgess becomes key now that Harrison Ward is out. Very important that Burgess stays there for Sussex.
Last ball of Smith's spell then, he bowls wide of off stump. This is hit in the air, but on the bounce to mid-on this time. Burgess trying to target that same region, and actually one of those times there where he did quite well to miscue it, because if he'd hit it better, then it would have gone straight to the fielder. So the end of Smith's spell, 4 overs, 2 for 35. So a mixture in the end from Smith, a bit like Singh Dale, actually.
Yes, no, I would agree.
Finished with 2 for 36. So some important wickets, but then a couple of expensive overs as well.
Well, this could go either way here, couldn't it? Because, you've got 5 wickets down, 5 overs to go. Burgess is set, so much depending on him. Is this David Payne who's coming back into the attack?
It is, which means that they're not going to bowl Van Buren out yet, so they're going to be bowling an over of spin pretty late, you would think. I mean, surely it's too late to introduce Charlesworth to the attack now, so that could be an interesting over, that, with spin and bowling late.
Here goes Payne up the hill, bowls to Hudson-Prentice, who eases that through the covers, picks up a single, does Hudson-Prentice. That's good cricket against Michael Burgess on strike, who's the man in form. Hudson-Prentice to 2 off 2, 122 for 5. Sussex going along at exactly 8 and over at the moment.
But I think this is a move to try and get Burgess out, especially. They like to be quite aggressive, Gloucestershire, with their bowling changes, in terms of the fact that if they think the bowler could come back and take them a wicket, then they kind of live now, pay later a little bit.
In comes Payne, left arm over the wicket, bowls right up in the block hole. Good delivery. Burgess squeezes that out for a single. He's thinking about a second. And that was a good delivery by David Payne. Burgess jagging down on it at the last moment. Just the one. Burgess goes to 41, 123 for 5 in the 16th.
Score.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, very good.
Well, I'd sorry, Gloucestershire supporters would be tearing their hair out at me because I have to point it out every time, but it's satisfying.
You're far too quick for me. In comes Payne, bowls to Hudson Prentice, who hits this down the ground. He should be caught at long on. No, he's going to go for 6. Wow. I thought that was going to go straight to Jack Taylor, but it just kept going and going and going. It was no more than like a short-arm jab, really. And it's sailed. It's a relatively short boundary down into this end of the ground. Taylor shakes his head. It's a shot that, well, on most grounds, I think you'd have been caught, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, definitely. They just needed Gloucestershire, the boundary, to be right back onto the hospitality tent over there rather than where it is. But, you know, it's a batter's game, isn't it?
129 for 5. Payne in. Bowls to Hudson Prentice, who slaps this one away. More runs here for Sussex. Just a single on this occasion. Out to the sweep on the cover boundary. Sussex to 130 for 5.
Well,
Hudson Prentice to 9.
Sorry, Adrian. It was well bowled by Payne because he was going for the paddle. He shaped very early to go into the position for the paddle, and so Payne just fired it wide of off stump and forced Hudson Prentice to change his shot to such an extent he was never going to be able to get a huge amount of bat on it.
2 more balls to go in the over. Payne in bowls. Burgess hammers that one away into the offside. They've taken one. They'll think about 2. There isn't 2 there, though. The throw comes in. There's a good bit of fielding in the outfield there by... Who's that
Wells
out there?
again, I think.
Wells, yeah, prevented anything more than a single. The sun is out now and a lot more blue sky making its way across Hove, and it's going to turn into, I think, a very pleasant afternoon. 131 for 5 are the Sharks. 1 more ball to go of this, the 16th over. 4 remaining after this. Payne is in. Bowls stylishly played away by Hudson Prentice into the offside. Again, it's Wells who's in very quickly. Very good bit of fielding. Just the single. So 5 singles and a 6 off the over. So 11 off the over. Not a disaster for Gloucestershire. 132 for 5. 4 overs remaining. Bird is on 42. Hudson Prentice on 10.
No, not a disaster, but equally, I'm sure they would have hoped that they would have got a wicket in that over. The fact that it's gone for a decent number of runs still, and Gloucestershire haven't got the wicket. That's now David Payne's 3rd over used up, and now they're going to go with this 1 over remaining of Van Buren. So this will be it for him, and then Shaw will have to have the 2 overs remaining from the C end, and it will have to be Payne to bowl the 19th over from the Cromwell Road end.
From the top end, yeah.
So Payne jogging towards cover, so even for Hudson Prentice they're going to have that fielder out on the sweep shot. And in comes Van Buren. This is his first over from this end, and he's got him bowled. Hudson Prentice has come charging down the pitch, tried to give himself some room. Van Buren just slid it onto him there, I think, and skidded it through. And it skidded it right through. And so he's got his first wicket to go with the fact he's only conceded 11 runs from his 3 overs. And Sussex 132 now for 6. Another important wicket for Gloucestershire towards the back end here.
Yeah, it is. And an important wicket as well, because at this stage when you've got new players coming, I mean, Nathan McAndrew can give the ball a fearful whack. But after McAndrew, everybody can bat at this level, can't they? Carvelos, Mills, and Brad Curry, but really this is the last chance, really. You know, these 2 need to be making runs, and they may feel there's still another 23 balls to go. So I don't think we're going to see McAndrew giving it the big heave-ho straight away.
No, but it's a conundrum, isn't it? Do you think, well, okay, we back 9, 10 and 11 just to rotate the strike and this is a shot to nothing, or do you say, well, we just play out Van Buren and maybe try and go after the seamers?
Yeah, possibly.
We'll see. They have to have some sort of an idea.
They will.
Sussex, I'm sure they do. We'll find out what it is. So they don't think McAndrew's going to reverse sweep because they've brought deep backward point up. McAndrew
is sort of cow corner and straight down the ground.
That is certainly what they've got their field set for now. Van Buren bowls 2. McAndrew's bowled! And Van Buren's on a hat-trick.
Wow.
Skids it through again, and leg stump is pegged back. Van Buren 2 for 11 now. And McAndrew, it doesn't really matter what he was trying to do there, because he wasn't trying to hit it for 6. He was only looking for a single to get off the mark, but he still couldn't lay bat on it.
2 first bowlers in this innings. Clark, and now Nathan McAndrew. And now Sussex have got a problem, because this is not a strong tail. Carvelos, Curry and Mills, with all due respect, it's all about giving the strike to Burgess, and probably all about batting the overs now, because Burgess is probably thinking we've still got 3 overs to go here. So the whole dynamic of the game has changed in 2 balls.
Yeah,
Hudson Prentice stays with Burgess, 5 overs to go, or 4 overs to go, 5 overs to go, 4 overs to go. You're probably thinking 170. Now, I think Sussex has settled probably for 160, if I'm being honest.
So Carvelos will face, and it will be a hat-trick ball for Graham Van Buren. I'm not sure that I don't think we've taken one in Gloucestershire colours, but maybe he's taken one in South Africa. I'd have to ask him after the game. But Carvelos is carving out his guard, twirling his bat. Van Buren pawing the ground at the bowler's end, spinning the ball about. He can't wait to get in for this hat-trick delivery. Van Buren is in, and he bowls to Carvelos, and Carvelos is forward and defending back up the pitch. He was not going to give him the satisfaction.
He wasn't, was he?
So a dot ball. Here's Van Buren in once more to bowl. Carvelos is working this one just past Payne at short mid-wicket, and he will rotate the strike. 133 for 7.
This may just rein Michael Burgess in here, because he's probably thinking to himself, there's still 3 overs to go. I need to be here at the end.
Yeah. Still got the same field with Burgess, and this is whipped away just over the head of Carvelos. He had to duck that one to make sure that he didn't knock it down for Van Buren. So Burgess gets a single.
Terrific over.
And now, what does Carvelos do? Because you want Burgess on strike for the next one, but...
Yeah. I guess with 18, he's going to have to... Yeah, I mean, I
think you just take what's on
offer,
I think you do.
Probably. I think you do. Maybe if you're in the last over, you keep... but with 3 overs to go, maybe you keep...
Keep taking the singles.
I agree.
Yeah. Van Buren bowls to Carvelos, and he's not going to get a single because he's driven it back to the bowler. It's knocked down by Van Buren. Indeed, what an over, and what a spell from Van Buren. 4 overs, 2 for 13. He's not conceded a boundary, and he was on a hat-trick. I think that's one of the best 4-over spells that I can remember Van Buren bowling, and he's been around for quite some time in Gloucestershire colours now, but I don't think the ball kind of been coming out too much better than it was this afternoon.
No, that was excellent. So Sussex still going along at roughly 7.9 and over, so best part of 8 and over, but whether they can maintain 8 and over, I think the Hudson Prentice wicket was absolutely key.
Yeah.
Well, once he's out, you get Burgess and Hudson Prentice in together, but all of a sudden wickets go down and it's a real problem. And it's going to be Josh Shaw who's going to come back into the attack. 3 overs to go. Shaw, as Ed was saying, 2 overs, 0 for 16 here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Gloucestershire and Bristol. In comes Josh Shaw, bowls to Michael Burgess, who beats him outside the off stump. It's a dot ball. Adrian Harms, Ed Seaborn on commentary from a windy south coast, a breezy south coast, lots of blue sky around now, really good crowd in. I think there's a couple of stag doos away to our left-hand side, people dressed up in all sorts of fancy dress.
Yeah, but there seem to be 2 loads of lifeguards, sort of rival lifeguards who can get in first to save.
Shaw comes in, bowls to Burgess, who hammers that to short extra cover. Very good bit of fielding on the edge of the circle there by, is that Charlesworth?
Yes, it is.
Very good bit of fielding. He loses his glasses. I think he might have hurt his shoulder in the process, actually. But I remember watching.
Last thing they need, another shoulder injury for Charlesworth. He has had a bit of an issue with that. I think he's all right. So he's down on his haunches. Hopefully, it's just maybe in his haste to get to the floor, he's just winded himself slightly. I don't know. Just keep an eye on that.
I remember him batting very nicely here in a 50 over a couple of seasons ago. In comes Shaw, bowls down the leg side. That'll be a wide, a welcome relief.
Off the pad.
Came off the pad. Yeah. So there we are. So a dot ball, and suddenly Gloucester are all over Sussex here. 135 for 7.
He did get away with it, though, because of the fact that it was down the leg side, even though it's Carvelos on strike.
And when you look at this Sussex scorecard, Harrison Ward making the half century, Michael Burgess 44, haven't really been any other contributions apart from that. In comes Shaw, running in, over the wicket, bowls, and I thought he bowled him for a moment. It was a terrific delivery from Shaw and just kept out by Carvelos. So this over has gone .1, just the one run off the over.
Yeah, and although he did get away with the previous delivery, he's bowled 2 terrific Yorkers in it as well as Shaw. If he can keep doing that, then especially because you've got a number 9 in, you're less likely to think, he's about to decide to play the ramp or something like that. No. You can keep bowling the Yorker.
In comes Shaw, bowls. Carvelos with a swing and a miss, hits the pad, and is he given out? He is given out. And Harry Carvelos is on his way, and another wicket goes down. He's gone for 1. And Sussex rather subsiding here. 135 for 8, and I did rather fear once he get through the Sussex top order. And Michael Burgess is running out of partners here, and Sussex, after the heroics last night down at Canterbury, where they posted a mammoth score of 228 for 7, are going to need to bowl really, really well here to keep their hopes of the T20 blast alive. They need to win this game. That's the first thing Sussex must do. But the run rate is not going to be done an awful lot of good.
No, that is the issue with a low scorer, really. And it's also... I was a little bit surprised that Sussex chose to bat first, because if you bowl first, then you've got the opportunity to pace your chase.
Yes.
And it can be a better way to get your net run rate up, but they've decided to try to... I mean, I guess actually, mathematically speaking, you probably are better off doing it this way round. It's just that if you don't get the runs on the board, then things become very tricky. So Mills, then, who made 27 off 16 balls here a couple of years ago. I remember it was his career best. I don't know if it still is, but I'll look it up.
We can hit the ball a long way. In he comes, bowls, and he gets a thick inside edge. It's going to be 4 runs.
One way to do it.
One way to do it. Big thick inside edge. The ball runs away for 4 runs, and Sussex go to 139 for 8. So a boundary for Tamal Mills off the last ball of the over. So there are 2 overs remaining. Burgess is on 44, Mills is on 4, Sussex going along at 7.7 and over. So it's not horrendous. If Sussex can get somewhere near 160, I don't think that's the worst score in the world, if I'm being honest. It may not be a winning score, but it's certainly a competitive score.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Gloucestershire have kind of told me in recent times that they just want to keep going for it when they bat. They're not particularly interested in playing the kind of cricket where they just work their way up to a score of 150, 160 or something like that. So that could open up possibilities, especially on this surface where we've seen it's not looking amazingly easy to play the big shots on. It'll be Payne to bowl the penultimate over. Got seagulls landing on the sight screen. That must be a little bit off-putting, seeing something white flashing about in front of the black there. But in comes Payne to bowl round the wicket. It's wide outside the off stump and chopped out into the covers by Burgess, and he'll pick up a single. That's all.
Yeah, I think Gloucestershire would have settled for that. There's no disrespect for Tamal, who can hit a long ball now. If Gloucestershire have been doing their homework, they'll know they need to have a long on here, because there we go.
Chris was listening to you.
That's where Tamal likes to hit it, down in that long on region.
I mean, I doubt it, but you know,
if it's pitched up, that's where it'll go.
In comes Payne to bowl to Mills into the block hole, and Mills will get 1, works it out towards deep backward square. The crowd are baying for a second run, I think, but not in this situation. Burgess needs to be on strike.
He does, and I also think it's so important to bat your overs here, isn't it? I mean, there's still 10 balls to go. A runner ball gets you to 151. If you can pick up a couple of boundaries, you get near to the 160. You don't want Burgess to get out here having a slog.
Payne trots in round the wicket to bowl, clipped away uppishly down to long on. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounce into the fielder's hands, and 1 more run added. 142 for 8. Good news, bad news in the test match. Bad news is that Australia's lead has got over 350, but the good news is Pat Cummins is out.
Right, okay, well, that's good news.
Caught Duckett's bowled broad for 11, so 262 for 8. Payne runs into Mills, gives himself some room, but it's a slower ball. Mills was trying to use some pace there, but there was none on offer, and ends up trying to guide it past third man and getting no bat on it, and it's taken on the bounce by James Bracey, so a dot ball. It is indeed, it still is T20 career best, that 27 couple of years back for Tamar Mills.
You've got a good memory, Ed. You really have.
Comes Payne, ball short, pull shot attempted by Mills.
He's caught behind.
And he's caught behind. There was barely any appeal, and Mills just jogged off. I don't actually know whether umpire White was going to give him out, or whether Mills just walked, or whether it really was just the fact that everybody knew that it was out, so didn't really bother to appeal. But it was banged in by Payne at full pace that time, and it was just on to Mills quite quickly. I mean, he was almost done, like Tamar Mills has done so many a batter in his time, with that slower ball followed up by the pace, which makes the quicker ball seem so much quicker. Obviously, it's not quite the same extreme difference in pace with Payne bowling, but it still has the same effect. And James Bracey does the honours behind the stumps, his second catch, and Sussex 142 for 9, and Brad Curry is out in the middle, and this delivery, because it's the last delivery of the over, he's just got to keep this out.
Well, and this is the danger. Sussex may not bat their overs, which is almost a sin really in limited overs cricket.
One way or another, Curry must keep this ball out. He does so off either bat or pad. The ball goes out towards square leg. Nobody's interested in a single, so the umpires are already changing positions. The end of Payne's spell, he's dragged that back well actually in that last over, because it actually been a little more expensive than usual, but he'll finish 4 overs, 1 for 34, and 1 over to go. 142 for 9, and I guess we're in the situation here with 9 wickets down where Burgess will probably try and face nearly all of these 6 deliveries himself.
Yes, I think you're right, and I think we'll also see Michael Burgess going for it here. I mean, my feeling is that we thought 160 would be a good score. I don't think really 142 is going to be enough. I'd be surprised. I mean, you never know in T20 cricket.
No.
But 142 is, I'm not sure that's going to quite be enough. Josh Shaw running up the hill, comes in, bowls to Michael Burgess, and Burgess with a swing and a miss, taken by keeper Bracey, and there is no run. I think credit here to Gloucestershire today, because they've come here with nothing to play for in this game. They're out of the competition, but you'd like to think that every county takes every match seriously, and they're playing for the competition and the integrity of the game. I think Gloucestershire have really competed here today.
I think you like to hope from a Gloucestershire point of view that the same level of application and commitment is there in the batting innings, because it certainly has been there from the bowlers.
Sure, in and bowls. Burgess hammers that away through the offside. That could well be 4 runs. It is 4 runs. Good shot by Michael Burgess, and hammers it away, and that's a lovely shot by Burgess. Smashes it away through extra cover for a boundary. He goes to his half century, and a very good half century indeed by Michael Burgess, and a good way to get there. And when you take the 50 that he scored and the 54 that Harrison Ward scored, that's 104 of this 146 runs.
Yeah, added 7 extras as well. And
no one else has really made it. In fact, the only other person to make double figures, Bapara made double figures. He made 12, and Hudson Prentice made 10. So 4 balls to go in this over. If Burgess could a couple more boundaries and Sussex get near that 160, they might feel they've got something defendable. Shaw in, bowls. Burgess hammers that away to the offside. It's gone in exactly the same place. On this occasion, though, they're coming back for the second. They'll need to hurry. That's very good running by Brad Curry, who was running to the danger end. Burgess picks up a couple more runs. 149 for 9. Burgess to 52. 3 balls remaining.
Was well run, wasn't it? And Gloucestershire, I think
Josh Shaw's not happy actually.
As soon as that ball was played, Shaw was pointing out towards that area, and I think they just can't allow Burgess to keep targeting the same area. You've got to, especially given that the plan seems to be to bowl Yorkers and maybe even wide Yorkers. He's got to have some protection there. Shaw
runs away from us. Burgess moving around in the crease, and I thought he'd been bowled, but it came off the pad. It was a full length delivery. It came off the pad and trundles into the onside. There is no well bowled by Shaw. 6 off the over so far. He was furious, I think, Josh Shaw, actually. There was 2 there. He was looking to have another fielder on that offside. Miles Hammond just coming up and having a chat to Josh Shaw. He was a competitive sort of cricketer. He looks like that sort of guy, good. Yeah,
I mean, it's good to see that from him, because I think that's where he gets the best out of his bowling, actually.
148 for 9. Shaw in, bowls, rammed by Burgess. Is he going to be caught? No, he's not. That's gone many a mile. Oh, he's gone for 6. Rammed. It was a full toss and rammed by Michael Burgess over the keeper, all the way for 6 runs. What a shot that is. And let's get Sussex over the 150. Well, that won't improve Josh Shaw's mood.
No, well, it's gone horribly wrong, hasn't it? Everything seemed to be going quite well for him in this over, in terms of the balls that he bowled, because I don't think you could say he did too much wrong for the 4 and the 2 through extra cover from Burgess. I mean, that was the plan. He got his plan right, but Burgess
Yes.
outthought him. But there, I think he's gone for the Yorker and he's got it massively wrong, and it's just fortunate from a Gloucestershire perspective that it didn't slip so high that it was a waist-high no ball, because it was fairly close.
154 for 9. Final ball of the innings. Shaw in bowls. Burgess hammers it down the go. That's 6 more. That's gone miles. Well, what a way to finish the innings from Michael Burgess. And that over has gone for 18, I think. Finishing with 2 sixes, so a massive final over as far as Sussex are concerned. And they finished on 160 for 9. And we said we thought 160 would be competitive, and that's what they've got. But I think Sussex will be buoyed by that, because it looked as if they may be sort of high 140s, and all of a sudden they'll feel they've got something they can defend.
Yeah, and I think this was...
This is a Higgity feast. There's plenty of this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgity. Baked generously. This is a Higgity feast. There's plenty of this, and this, and these as well. We top it like this, and bake it like that. Higgity. Baked generously.
them have, and it was nicely bowled in terms of the shape there, and Hammond was having to kind of lunge after it to play that ball through the offside, and just kept swinging away from him.
Just adjusting his gloves, Miles Hammond. 2 balls gone, 2 balls. A good start for Brad Curry, who runs away from us, comes in and bowls, and another swing and a miss, and taken by a diving Burgess in front of first slip. So good start here by Sussex. Hammond looking to hammer that one away through the offside. There is a sweeper on the cover boundary. The 2 fielders outside the circle are a sweeper on the cover boundary and a deep mid-wicket. Hudson Prentice in front of the Karma Pavilion. And I think that's Harrison Ward over in front of the corporate hospitality boxes.
What pavilion did you say?
Sven Karma.
Yeah. I thought you said for a moment you said Sven Kramer, who was one of the all-time great Dutch speed skaters.
In comes Curry bowls and Hammond drives. He's going to get runs, and he's going to get 4 runs, I think. Chased back towards the boundary, but he won't get there, will Shadab Khan. So a nice way to get off the mark from Miles Hammond, playing that one backward of square on the offside. There is no run. Yes, he was a benefactor who left an awful lot of money to the club, which the club have used pretty wisely over the years in terms of improvements to the ground and players who have come in. And the most recent improvement here for anybody who's been to Hove recently is the new apartment block as you come in, and the pub is open at the bottom of that apartment block now, the Sussex Cricketer, which I understand is very nice inside. A bit pricey apparently, but anyway. That's Hove. In comes Curry, over the wicket bowls, and Hammond's hit on the pad. Michael Burgess standing up to the stumps. The ball ends up at backward point. He's just getting all to nip around a bit here, Brad Curry. 4 without loss, Gloucestershire.
Well, Gloucestershire got some swing early on in their innings as well. Payne in that first over getting some movement, and if you're Gloucestershire, I guess you're trying to get hold of a couple to try and get that to stop early, because it's not making life easy out there for Hammond.
Burgess again up to the stump. There was a slip in place. Final ball of the opening over. Curry in bowls, and Hammond is going to get 4 very, very lucky runs. An inside edge, well, it doesn't matter how you get them from a Gloucestershire point of view, but encouragement there for Brad Curry. He's gone for 8 in his opening over. Could have had a wicket, but that's the way T20 goes. Hammond rides his luck. He's on 8. Gloucestershire 8 without loss.
Yes, the old Harrow drive from Hamo, and he gets 4 runs. I mean, again, it's one which actually, I think that time was almost the fact that the ball didn't swing which did him. He was expecting the ball to swing onto his bat, and the ball this time just actually kind of held its line on him. And as a consequence, he got the inside edge, and as you say, mighty fortunate that went past leg stump, because it was really quite a thin inside edge as well. Exactly the sort that might have gone onto the stumps, but it didn't. And so we've got Carvelis.
Yes, Carvelis.
Indeed, coming in from the Cromwell Road end. So Carvelis, who took 4 for 20 against Gloucestershire in the reverse fixture, and I think he got wickets here in the 50-over game last year as well. Bowling to Rulofsson, who drives pleasantly into the offside, out towards deep point. The fielder dives and can't get there. My goodness, the ball goes quickly out towards that area, doesn't it? And Rulofsson's off the mark straight away.
He owes his side some runs here, Rulofsson, because he put down Michael Burgess when he was on 20. Burgess going on to make 64, and it was a straightforward chance as well.
Yeah, it was. He was reaching for that drive a little bit, was Rulofsson. Was a bit uppish for a moment. I thought he might have brought the covers into play, but actually he opened the face a bit more on it and sent it out towards deep point. And now already Sussex have changed the field to have a deep point rather than a man down on the 3rd man boundary. Carvelis running into bowl to Rulofsson, who's just checking this one to the offside. It's going to be a quick single. The stumps goes to the non-strikers end, and there's nobody backing up. And the ball's rolling out towards the boundary and will go for 4 overthrows. So that is 5 runs to Gloucestershire and Grant Rulofsson. Rulofsson will have to go back to the non-strikers end. It will be Hammond on strike for the next delivery, I believe.
Yes,
the umpires are going to get that sorted.
Just getting compromised. That was sloppy, isn't it? It's just what you don't need, really, when you're defending a relative. I mean, I think, to be honest, if I'm being honest, I think he was always going to get home there for the single, but no one backing up. It was just sort of sloppy cricket, really.
Yeah.
Do you look at McAndrew, who's at mid-on, should he have been backing up?
I think McAndrew went to the stumps, didn't he? McAndrew was trying to cover the stumps, but the fielder at mid-off then didn't go to mid-on in order to do the backing up. Somebody had to cover the stumps, and McAndrew took it upon himself, but then nobody to back up on top of that. So 17 without loss. Carvelis bowls to Hammond, who flips this one away, high up into the air, out towards deep square leg, and that will go just for 6, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, the field is going to signal 6. He was in the air for a long time and didn't clear what isn't the longest boundary by masses, but he got the placement well enough to get it away from the fielder coming around from deep square, and Gloucestershire are now 23 without loss after just 9 balls.
Just looked at the bottom of his bat there, Miles Hamilton, to say, yeah, I didn't quite get all of that. It was enough. It's a relatively short boundary, as Ed was saying.
So 15 off the first 3 balls of the over. Carvelis comes round the wicket to bowl to Hammond, who's gone for the big one and has missed it, and it struck him on the pad and it goes nowhere. For a moment, I thought that might clean him up, because you could just see that he wasn't going to make contact with that shot.
So the runs scored, it shows that by the over it goes 4, 5, 6 on the underneath Carvelis' name. You don't see that too often.
Well, yes, yeah, that is a good shout.
There's a sequence for you, Ed.
To get Andrew Sampson onto it. Has anybody ever started their spell in T20 cricket with a 4, 5, 6? Yeah. It would have been quite something if we got a 7.
It would do. Yeah, Sussex what?
I don't think Sussex would have seen the funny side of that. This is driven away by Hammond, well stopped by Bopara at extra cover. It was timed sweetly by Hammond on the extra cover drive. Bopara got it on the bounce and stopped it. Score remains 23 for no wicket. And in some ways, Gloucestershire have already got what they need off this over with, well, more than what they need off this over with 15 off it, but that doesn't seem to be the way that Gloucestershire have been going about things recently. Hammond still looking for boundaries. Carvelis is there to bowl. It's on the pads. It's been top-edged high up into the air. Should be the first Sussex wicket, and is.
That's poor from Hammond.
Catch is taken at short third man by Curry, and Carvelis gets revenge for going for 15 off his first 3, and he's come back with 2 dots and a wicket. It was the only thing I would say about that is it was leg enough that he maybe felt he could help it over the leg side, but at the same time it's a big top edge, and yeah, like you say, they'd got 15 off the over. They're well ahead of the rate. The only thing that brings Sussex back into the game after a flying start like that in the first couple of overs is wickets, and they've got a big one there in Hammond, out for 14, and Gloucestershire are 23 for 1.
No, I agree with you. I mean, you said before that ball, they've got what they need. Maybe just push a single. You're way ahead of where you need to be. And Hammond did a massive 6. It looked in good touch, actually. You said he'd had a good innings up at Headingley. Brings in Ben Charlesworth, who I always think looks a lovely player.
Well, he's had a few lower scores of late in the T20, but he got off to a terrific start in his Gloucestershire T20 career. 250s in his first 3 games. And what Gloucestershire like to do is keep the left-hand, right-hand going. So if Rulofsson had been the first out, then Wells would have been in at 3. But because it's Hammond, it's the left-handed Charlesworth.
So it's Brad Curry who comes running into bowl to Grant Rowlofsson. He's in and bowls it on the pad. That's going down the leg side. It's I don't think that's out. And umpire Harris is unmoved. That was definitely swinging quite a bit. He's looking to tuck the ball away onto this leg side. There's a big gap through mid-wicket. In fact, I can see Tom Clark's at mid-wicket is just pointing towards that deep mid-wicket boundary as if to say, perhaps we should have someone out there. But the field is staying as it is. The noise in the background is because the stewards have just got a beach ball back from the spectators.
Oh dear.
In comes Curry, bowls to Rowlofsson, who hammers it away, and that's exactly what he does. He's going to go for 6. And I have to say, I think that was pretty much telegraphed, actually. I'm very, very surprised that Sussex didn't put a man back there, because I think it was Harrison Ward who was saying, should we have someone there to the previous ball, because that's clear where Rowlofsson was going to hit it, and it's gone for 6 runs.
Yeah, I mean, he's swinging it into the right-hander, isn't he?
So he's just helping it on its way.
Exactly, he's just playing with the swing.
Very, very odd that Sussex didn't sort of cut that off. Anyway.
They have done now, and the other thing they've done is the keeper's come up, which might stop Rulofsson from shuffling about his crease, which he likes to do. He particularly likes to get across to the offside, and I think he feels he'll be able to access the leg side, but equally if they follow him, then he'll still get the width.
Curry in bowls, and Rowlofsson eases that one down through third man. He's got more runs here, 2, possibly 3 actually. It could go all the way for 4. Carvelis is in hot pursuit, and it has gone for 4. Very quick across the outfield. So 10 off the over already. Off that second over, was the score 23 after 2 overs? 23 for 1?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, I forgot to make a note of that. So the corresponding time after 2, Sussex were 10 for 1, Gloucestershire 23 for 1, but now 10 off this over. So good start here for Gloucestershire. Wolves looking in decent touch. He's on to 19.
19 off 5 balls.
Sun is with us. Hove looks a picture, actually. As Curry runs away from us. Bird is standing up to the stumps. In and bowled. Rollison is forward. No need for any heroics. Just plays the ball out to short extra. Followed by Papara, and there is no run. And I know the temptation is sometimes when you're off to a fly, you think, well, let's just keep on going. But sometimes you think, well, you know, we've picked up 10 off the over. You know, the skipper's gone, so let's just push, perhaps push a 1 or 2. If you're picking 10 and 12 off and over during the power play, then you're around sort of 60-70 mark. Curry runs in, bowls to Rollison, who again forward plays that to backward point very eagerly in there. Is Finn Hudson-Prentice prevents anything more than a dot ball. So 3 dot balls, a 6 and a 4 so far in this over.
26 years old, Grant Rulofsson, one of Gloucestershire's 2 overseas players for this campaign, but one of them isn't playing, Zafar Gohar, who's I think probably being saved for future endeavours in Championship especially.
Curry, and again bowled. Rollison is forward, placed him in on. They're going to take a single here. Mills comes in, but it was a comfortable single in the end for Rollison, who goes to 20. And at the end of the 3rd over, Gloucestershire are 34 for 1. So 11 off that over from Brad Curry. Gloucestershire required to score a 7.5 and over if they're going to win this match. Currently going along at 11.3, so very much ahead of the game are the visitors here. And it looks like it's going to be Eric Avelos who's going to carry on from the Cromwell Road. So no Tamal Mills, who I suspect will maybe bowl the 5th. Well, certainly he'll bowl one of the overs in the power play.
I guess their feeling is, whilst the ball might still be swinging, then keep it with the swing bowlers.
Yeah,
and
right.
Of course, he has just actually picked up a wicket off the last ball that he's bowled. And in fact, were it not for the overthrows, then he would have gone for 11 rather than 15 anyway. So it's Carvelis bowling to Rulofsson, who's played a straight drive. It will go, I mean, it's a lofted straight drive. It will go towards the boundary and will go over it for 4 runs as well. I mean, he's played that just beautifully as Rulofsson straight over the bowler's head. No risk involved in that. And he's got just about enough to beat mid-off and mid-on, tracking back 38 for 1.
Good shot, wasn't it? Beautifully played. A proper cricket shot, really.
It was pitched right up there by Carvelis, so it was kind of inviting the shot. Rulofsson accepted.
When he does pitch it up, Carvelis, around about middle and off is the line that he generally bowls.
In comes Carvelis and bowls to Rulofsson. It's short, pulled on the bounce to short fine leg.
Well fielded.
It was well fielded. I mean, it almost knocked the fielder backwards there, Brad Curry. And of course, he's already taken one stunner of a catch, so you know you don't want to be hitting the ball anywhere near him.
Yeah, I mean, the catch here against Hampshire was probably something the Sky cameras were here on Brad Curry. It was just magnificent. Just over there.
Yeah.
Full-length dive. It was brilliant.
I did see it on TV, but
yeah, it was really
so different to watching it
absolutely.
from here.
It was an extraordinary catch.
In comes Carvelis, he's to the crease now, bowls slow, wide, Rulofsson muscles it over mid-on for 1 bounce and 4. Oh, it's a lot of power in that shot. As he took the pace off Carvelis and fired it wide of off stump, but Rulofsson decided, by the looks of things, wherever the ball was bowled, he was going to try and hit it over mid-on, and he just used his considerable reach and fetched it, and has got plenty of that. 42 for 1.
I think what you do know with Eric Carvelos is he does pitch the ball up, so I think Rulofsson can probably think to himself, I can get on the front foot here and drive. Doesn't bowl an awful lot of short stuff.
He's got 28 now as Rulofsson from 11 balls. Carvelis coming in now to bowl to Rulofsson, who plays quietly into the leg side. Quick single. I think it's a well-judged one. The shot at the stumps misses, and it is backed up out there at backward point by Ward. I don't think they would have been able to come through for an overthrow anyway, because Charlesworth had to run a long way through, and it's 43 for 1, and Charlesworth will get to face his first ball.
I think we're going to see probably Mills and McAndrew bowling overs 5 and 6 from the warming up that's going up at the top end of the ground. Charlesworth hasn't faced a ball yet, you know?
No.
Incredible, he's been out there for a little while.
Yeah. Was it 10 balls faced consecutive by Rulofsson? Carvelis bowls to Charlesworth, who struck on the pad, looks close. It's not given by umpire White. Maybe it was just leg side.
Yeah, it was a good shout. It was a very good shout. He'd shuffled across his stumps there at Charlesworth.
I think one of the things is it looks even better from where we are because we're kind of slightly to the leg side of the batter. So from our perspective, it looks way in line. If you're watching potentially on the live picture feed, you might be thinking, silly person, how on earth could you think that was close? Carvelos bowls wide of the crease, driven down the ground and not stopped at mid-off cleanly. They will get two, but there's one of those, did he save 2 runs or did he concede 2 runs? Charlesworth gets off the mark with a couple. 4 overs gone. Gloucestershire are 45 for 1, needing 116 runs from 16 overs.
After 4 overs, Sussex were 28 for 2. So at the moment, and you can see Duckworth Lewis on the scoreboard, he's always a guide to how a run chase is going. It's by no means the only way. Is 30 at the moment. Gloucestershire need to score at 7.2 and over. Off to a bit of a flyer. It will be Nathan McAndrew, who's going to bowl the next over from the C end of the ground. Australia all out for 279. It's tea at Lords. England needing 371 to win.
Broad finishing with 4 for 65.
Well, let's start with cricket, and Sussex are taking on Gloucestershire in the final T20 match at home. Watching for us is Adrian Hart.
Yes, and we're into the 5th over of the Gloucestershire reply. They're off to a flyer, Sophia. They're 45 for 1. Call that 46 for 1 in the 5th over, needing 160 to win, 161 to win. Then after Harrison Ward made 54 and Michael Burgess 64 not out in a Sussex total of 160 for 9. Just to remind everybody, Sussex must win this game or else they'll be out of the Vitality brass. And even if they do win, it'll depend on results in other games tomorrow. All they can do is win, but Gloucestershire going along nicely, 46 for 1 in the 5th over. Meanwhile, in the Test match at Lords, Australia just bowled out for 279 in their second innings. It means that England need 371 to win the second Test match at headquarters.
Thanks, Adrian. In women's cricket, the
In comes McAndrew. Bowls clipped away by Charles. That's a good stop, actually, at short fine leg by Brad Curry down there. A single, though, to Charlesworth. He goes to 3, 47 for 1.
Yeah, and of course, as I think was just being pointed out on Radio Sussex, it's the first T20 international between England's women and Australia in their Ashes series with
And where's
England,
that game? Oh, that's at Edgbaston.
Edgbaston, yeah, that's right. England basically needing to win almost all of the remaining games now they lost the Test match.
Yeah. In comes McAndrew, running in and bowls, hammered away down the ground. He's going to be caught at mid-off. Brad Curry is underneath it, and it's a good catch. He's not going to drop that, and Rolifson is on his way, and that's a big wicket as far as Sussex is concerned, because Rolifson was going along very nicely. He's out for 30. He picked the wrong man there to play that to Brad Curry. McAndrew picks up a wicket, and Sussex needed that.
Yeah, they're really beginning to get themselves, or more than beginning to get themselves back into things. I mean, I think Rolifson's just scored 30 of the 47 runs that Gloucestershire have managed. And again, it's another attempted big hit that hasn't been timed. When he looked to just lift the ball over the infield or time the ball through it, he looked in really good touch there, Rolifson. But again, I found this has blighted Gloucestershire's campaign, much like I said about the power play. It's just this kind of feeling of the ball has to go for 6. It's not just simply enough to hit it over the infield and have it go for 4. It just, sometimes you just wish that there was some intermediate between the 6,
yes,
trying to hit it all out and get it over the rope for 6 and playing the single. But I'm sure he will say, look, my role was to get Gloucestershire off to a flyer, and I've managed to do that. But equally now they need a partnership with Ben Wells coming to the crease.
McAndrew running away from us up the hill, bowls to Wells, short paddle down the leg side. I thought for a moment he got a little nick on that, or a little glove on that. Ben Wells looks at the umpire and says, isn't that a wide? But I think he got himself quite a way across to the offside. Either way, it's a dot ball. So good over here from Nathan McAndrew. Single wicket dot ball.
Yeah, he bowled superbly in that championship match.
Yeah, he really did.
In the season against Gloucestershire, really did a number. I was going to have a look at his figures in that first innings, 5 for 63.
In comes McAndrew, bowls, and Wells hit on the pad. That's close, and he's given out, and Wells is on his way. And Sussex have picked up a couple of wickets in and over, and suddenly the whole course of the game has changed to 47 for 3. Wells, to be honest, was playing all around that, and that looked very out from here.
Well, again, this is what happens happens when you kind of treat wickets as though they're not important, and this is what's going to happen. And Wells has tried to pick that one up over the leg side again. He's not trying to hit that softly. I mean, he's trying to help that one over the square leg boundary, and his feet haven't really gone anywhere. And yeah, just having a look at that one back, I'm not really sure there's anything that can save him, because it's not got up masses.
No.
And that's the issue with playing these cross-batted shots on a pitch where the occasional one is staying down, because you've really got to trust the bounce in order to play those sorts of shots, and I'm not sure that you can quite do that with every ball. And it's just, it hasn't stayed down much at all, but it has just skidded through, I think would be maybe how you would put it, and that's crashing into the stumps, and Wells departs, and 2 wickets in 3 balls for Sussex.
And 2 comparative, well, certainly a new man in James Bracey, and Ben Charlesworth at the other end. Here comes McAndrew, 2 wickets in the over, bowls to Bracey, who drives firmly to mid-off, fielded by Mills. Good over by Nathan McAndrew. 2 wickets, just the 2 runs, and he's got Sussex back into the game, because at 45 for 1 after 4, Gloucestershire off for a flyer, all of a sudden 47 for 3. And it just goes to show how game can change around so quickly. And the final over the power play will be bowled by Tamel Mills, which is never easy.
No, exactly. You find it hard to see how this is going to be a big over if Mills gets it right, and Gloucestershire are going to have to be on their toes in terms of how they decide to play him. But yeah, again, this is obviously the way that Gloucestershire are committing to their cricket, and I'm sure they will say, look, we were 1 over away from getting the run rate down below even 7, something like that, but as it is, it's gone the other way, and now they are ahead of the rate, but not by as much as they were, and they're 3 down. Here's Mills bowling to Charlesworth. That is a bit of a help yourself delivery, I'm afraid, to start with. Pace on, but right on the hip of Charlesworth, and with short, fine leg up, all he has to do is just swing it round the corner and picks up 4, and the 50's up for Gloucestershire.
Yeah, that's not a great delivery by Tamel, and no one will know that better than he does. He bowled a wonderful last over last night at Canterbury, because at one stage it looked as if, because Kent, it was on Duckworth Lewis, Kent needed 98 off 6 overs and 4 balls, and at one stage it looked like they might do it. And Mills bowled an excellent final over for Sussex, but he won't be very proud of that delivery.
Well, the Sussex bowlers have pulled their overs back. In comes Mills to bowl to Charlesworth, who tries to pick this one up leg side, and that's 4 more fortuitous runs. He's tried to swing that one in a similar fashion to Ben Wells, actually, over square leg, and he's got a thick outside edge that has flown down to the 3rd man boundary for 4 more.
That could have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
Could have gone to backward point. As it is, he picks up a boundary. It's the way T20 cricket goes.
55 for 3, so 2 boundaries to start the last over of the power play for Gloucestershire. 106 more runs required. Mills left arm over to the left-handed Charlesworth. Tall figure waiting back raised. He's almost chopped that one onto his stumps.
How did that happen?
It's another inside edge down to short fine, but this time the only blessing from a Sussex perspective is that it's gone to a fielder, and it's gone to Shadab Khan on the short fine leg circle there. No run.
I mean, you've got 2 4s off of Mills. I'd have thought, now just play out the over. You know, he's a dangerous bowler. Maybe pick up a single here or single there and get through the power play.
Just does not seem to be the way that they're going. In comes Mills to bowl to Charlesworth. Charlesworth tries to pull. He's not got any timing on that at all. It rolls out towards mid-wicket, and there's no run.
I mean, Gloucester are well placed here. They need to score at 7.4 and over. 106 required in 14 overs. You know, plenty of batting to come. But as I say, I'm always very mindful. It's very easy to say from inside the comfort of the commentary box, and it's a lot different when you're out there in the middle. But common sense would tell you that Gloucester are off to a decent start here. I guess they might say, well, it's still the power play. A couple of boundaries can make all the difference. It's an observation, perhaps more than anything else.
We can all do it, can't we? Up to the sort of armchair aggression levels. That's a lovely ball from Mills. He's taken the pace off that one, a slower delivery, and this time Charlesworth was not looking to attack it. He just was completely befuddled by it, and he's beaten his outside edge and gone through on a couple of bounces to Burgess.
Good recovery here from Mills, having gone for 8 off the first 2 balls.
Yeah, it's been such a theme. I mean, think of Carvelis coming back. Actually, Carvelis in both his overs did that. 50 15 off 3 balls, including 4 overthrows in his first over, 8 runs off his first 3 in his second, then only went for 3 in the back half of it. McAndrew didn't need to come back, but they have done a good job of not letting overs get away from them so far. Mills bowls to Charlesworth, who gets a thick outside edge down to short third. They're going to come through for a single. That's alert running from James Bracey at the non-striker's end, because it was parried by Brad Curry there. And 1 run ends the power play. So I get pretty much exactly what I said for Sussex, really. Be more than happy with 56 runs on the board, Gloucestershire, but 3 wickets in the power play, it's not ideal. 105 runs needed from 84 deliveries.
Yeah, so Sussex at the end of the power play were 49 for 3, so 56 for 3, so it's pretty much even Stevens. Nathan McAndrew is going to carry on, having bowled that very good first over for Sussex.
I guess from a Gloucestershire point of view, we're talking about how it's kind of neck and neck. Where's the one partnership for Gloucestershire coming from? You know, if we saw from Sussex's innings, it does only take one partnership, but 2 batters have to be the 2.
In goes McAndrew, bowl to Charlesworth. That's a poor shot. I mean, he's stepped. So I don't mean to be critical, but I'm not sure why he's played that shot. He stepped about 2 paces away to the leg side. He's looking to hammer it away through the offside. And he's showing all his stumps there to Nathan McAndrew. The ball goes over the top through to keeper Michael Burgess. I saw Ben Charlesworth, it was a 50 over game here. I'm sure it was a couple of years ago, might have even been during COVID, and he batted beautifully.
Yeah, beautifully. I think it was 2021. And I was thinking, I didn't do the game, but I remember watching it.
What a good player he is. McAndrew in, bowls pulled away, and he's going to get 4 runs. Little tick. Oh, that's wide actually. He didn't get anything on that. 4 wide. I thought he got a little tickle on.
But it almost looked as if there was a deviation, didn't it? But there we go.
Well, it must have moved a long way then.
Yeah, it must have done. It must have. Well, at least from where I looked at it, when the ball was kind of obscured a bit by McAndrew's body. But I thought that it looked like it must have caught something to be that far down Burgess's right-hand side. But 5 bonus runs there for Gloucestershire.
Exactly 100 needed for Gloucestershire. As in comes McAndrew, round the wicket bowls. Charlesworth hammers this down the ground. It was in the air a long time. I thought for a moment it was going to end up in the hands of Bopara at extra cover, but he picks up a 6. Overly happily does Charlesworth. He looked a bit fidgety. He goes to 13. He rehearses that shot, but he's got himself going. He's on 13. He's got James Bracey with him.
And it's sort of what you wonder, actually. The pressure was all off Gloucestershire in their bowling innings, but actually now they've restricted Sussex to a total they feel they should chase. Yes. Is the pressure actually beginning to get to Gloucestershire a little bit? Just a little bit.
McAndrew around the wicket, comes in and bowls to Bracey, pulls away onto the leg side. Is he going to be caught? No, he's not. That's an excellent effort by Finn Hudson-Prentice. They're going to go for a second, never run on a miss. That was a really good effort by Hudson-Prentice, actually. It was one of those where you have to make up your mind. You go for the catch, or do you save the boundary? And Hudson-Prentice, to his eternal credit, really went for the catch there. He didn't go. I thought for a moment he was going to get there, but he did stop the ball. Just a single to Bracey, 63 for 3.
Yeah, you take your teeth in your hands, as it were.
That was a really good effort by Finn Hudson-Prentice. In comes McAndrew, round the wicket, bowls to Charlesworth, who plays it out into the offside. They've taken one, that's all they'll take. And again, it's Finn Hudson-Prentice who comes in, good bit of fielding, throws over the top on the bounce to Michael Burgess. Charlesworth to 14, 64 for 3 here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Gloucester and Bristol. Adrian Harms, Ed Seaborn, radio listening from. If you're watching the stream, if you're in the ground or listening to us via the BBC app and website, a very good afternoon from a sunny Hove. There's a bit of cloud, bit of blue sky, intermittent sunshine, but it's dry, and a good sized crowd here at the county ground. As in comes McAndrew down the leg side, clipped away by Bracey, gets a single down to fine leg. It's one more to the total. 65 for 3 are Gloucestershire. They need 161 to win after Harrison Ward made 54 and Michael Burgess 64 not out in a Sussex total of 160 for 9. Gloucestershire now 65 for 3. We're in the 7th over. They need to score at 7.3 and over. 96 needed to win in a match that Sussex must win, or else they will be out of the blast for this year. McAndrew in bowls and racing with a plan. I mean, it's also beaten keeper Michael Burgess. That was a strange shot by Charlesworth, again getting away to the leg side. He
put bottom edge on it.
Bottom edge. He gets a single. So it is the end of Nathan McAndrew's over, an over that cost 10 runs. At the end of the 7th, Gloucestershire are 66 for 3, with Charlesworth on 15. Not a wholly convincing 15 from Ben Charlesworth, and James Bracey on 2.
I think that would be a polite way of putting it. I think
his parents might be listening. I don't want to be rude.
I was going to say a bit of a charmed life, really, which is probably also on the diplomatic end of things, but he's still out there. I think that's what the most important thing is from Gloucestershire's perspective, and it's going to be a key 4 overs from Shadab Khan. He took 4 wickets in the reverse fixture, 4 for 27. Gloucestershire didn't play him particularly well. They're going to have to play him a lot better in this game. Shadab Khan then with his leg breaks bowling to Charlesworth. It's wide outside the off stump. Charlesworth tries to cut and misses it, and it goes through to Burgess, who thought better in the end of whipping off the bails.
I mean, that's the shot to play, isn't it? I mean, there are 2 men there at backward point, but then no one behind him.
Shadab Khan bowls to Charlesworth, reverse sweep, picks out short third, and there's no run, so 2 dots to start this, and this is where Sussex can begin, more than begin, to drag that current run rate of Gloucestershire's back, build the required rate up. Shadab Khan bowls, it's too short, pulled away for 6 by Charlesworth. There's absolutely no doubt about that one. That's on the roof of the hospitality building over there and out the back and probably into the gardens. That was a genuine drag down from Shadab Khan, and he didn't get away with it.
With 2 left-handers batting, it's a real danger bowling to that short edge for the leg spinner. It's not a long boundary. What do you reckon that is? 60 yards? Probably not a lot more
even
than that.
Yeah,
it's a very short boundary.
Could even be 55, yeah.
And once it's short, Charlesworth, who hasn't looked in the best of nick, but he wasn't going to miss out on that. It was, I'd say, it was a long hop really, and just as easy as you like for Charlesworth to pull that one over square leg. Just what Gloucestershire needed actually after those first 2 dot balls.
Yeah, I think the difference because actually we saw Van Buren drop a couple in short and they just didn't really come onto the bat, but the difference I think probably between the finger spinner and how Van Buren bowls it being quite skiddy, and the wrist spinner where it is going to just stick in the surface a bit more. There's a paddle reverse sweep attempted this time by Charlesworth. I don't think I've ever seen him play that shot before. He picks up a single down towards short third man.
Yeah, that was a more confident shot. I wonder whether the 6 has just given him a bit of belief. So, as I say, that innings here at Hove in a 50 over, he only made 30 or 40, but he just looks such a good player.
Well, he does. He's got every shot. I mean, and actually, when I say he's got every shot, and we've even seen another shot that he's got there. As Shadab Khan bowls to Bracey, and Bracey is working this one off his pads out to deep backward square, gets 1. So
what Gloucestershire need, they need to score at 7 and over, and they've got 8 off the first 5 balls. There's kind of no need for any heroics here. Push the ball around, pick up the 1s and 2s, and then the occasional boundary.
Sun comes out. It is such a lovely place to be, as always, but particularly when the sun's out. Hove. Charlesworth comes down the pitch, hits this one in the air down towards the long off, and the fielder is going to stop it again. And that's amazing work.
That's Hudson Prentice again.
Is it Hudson Prentice again?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Just twice he's done that now, where he's gone absolutely all out for the catch. Total commitment, but managed to make the adjustment and stop the ball on the half volley. And that's tremendous work to stop that ball after having committed so hard for the catch. It's 1 run to Charlesworth. It ends the 8th over, and Gloucestershire are 75 for 3. They need 86 runs to win from 72 deliveries.
Now this is interesting. I thought Ravi Bopara would probably bowl. He'll be pace off from Bopara. It's so difficult to get away in this form of cricket.
Ravi Bopara. Yes. I'm glad to see it's followed him down here. I'd been disappointed if it hadn't.
Around the wicket, comes in and bowls to Charlesworth, who hammers the ball away through mid-off. The ball was in the air for a little while, fielded by... Who's that coming off? Harrison Ward off the long off boundary. So Charlesworth, what am I talking about? Goes to 24, 76 for 3. James Bracey just takes guard again and surveys the field. Bopara coming around the wicket. It's going to bowl to the left-handed James Bracey. He's in and bowls, and Bracey drives into the covers. They've taken one. So Mills didn't field the ball cleanly. Had he fielded it cleanly and got in the throw, although he bowls left arm to Mel Mills, he throws right-handed. So it was to his correct hand, but in the end, there was a slight fumble.
Yeah, it was a tricky one, wasn't it? Because I think he was going to have to throw slightly across his body if he was going to go to probably what would have been the danger end.
77 for 3. Bopara bowling to Charlesworth, who's hitting this one firmly through the offside. That's 4 runs. Too short from Bopara, and Charlesworth, that is a good shot onto his back foot, and he just belted the ball away through extra cover for 4 runs. That's a good quality shot. He goes to 28. Gloucestershire 81 for 3, needing another 80 to win, needing to score at 7 and over.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to have just unlocked the power that's in there in this T20 campaign when he's got it right as Charlesworth. You know, he's a tall man. You talk about the long levers all the time with a lot of tall players, and he's certainly got that, and it's been magnificent to see him adapt his game.
Good shot. Bopara in again, bowls. That's down the leg side, missing leg stump. Ball hits the pad and pulls out into the offside. There is no run. He's a dangerous campaigner, Ravi Bopara, and Gloucestershire have picked up 6 runs off the over. Oh, someone's just found a ball. It's just a ball has just arrived on the outfield.
The one that Charlesworth planted into the garden.
Yeah, and it's just reappeared. Nathan McAndrew is picking it. I wonder whether they will go back with that. No, it's going to be returned to the umpire. Now, I wonder which ball we're going to use. I've no idea.
We're going to use the old one.
We're going to use the old one.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Interesting.
So the ball that was hit into the gardens, someone's probably doing their gardening, and I hope they didn't get hit on the head by the ball.
Gosh.
No, it's not funny. But anyway, the ball has been returned. 81 for 3. So Gloucestershire halfway to their total. Bopara is in, bowls and swung down the ground by Charlesworth. Crowd catch. It was a bump ball, well fielded by Bopara off his own bowling. It's another dot ball, 6 off the over.
He had a bit of a smile with the umpire there, I think, to Bopara. It wasn't. Maybe it was a grimace.
No, he's hurt his hand, Bopara, and now he's walking off. So it was belted back. I wonder whether he's popped a finger out. That was belted back down the ground, and Bopara has hurt his hand, and that means someone else is going to have to bowl this final ball. A 12th man will have to come on. He didn't look very happy, Bopara, did he? Just dropped the ball and marched off.
Yeah, there was no hesitation about it. Yeah, like you say, if he's just popped it or what, but
he's coming back on now.
This is extraordinary. I've never seen somebody march off so soon.
He literally sort of marched off like as if he was sort of,
amazing.
Almost sort of, I'm really annoyed.
Perhaps it really did pop back in again.
Well, he wants his cap.
There we go. He just wanted to go and get his cap. Normally, you see the physio come out, and if it's popped out, the physio tries to get it back in immediately. But
so Harrison Ward, he wants to go off to the dressing room. He's not going to stay on the field.
Well, there's no point in him staying out there if he's, staying out there on the field if he's not going to bowl.
So Harrison Ward is going to bowl the last ball of the over. He bowls a bit of off spin. Did he bowl against Gloucester last year? Got a wicket with the very first ball of the match.
Miles Hammond hit it straight to mid-off or extra cover, one of the two, somewhere around there. I think
he'll come back on Bopara because he's sort of jogging off the field now. In comes Ward, bowls to Charlesworth. He hammers that one away through onto the leg side. They've taken one. They'll think about 2. It isn't there. Good bit of fielding out there by Tom Clark, who's a very good fielder. So, end of the over, and Gloucestershire are 82 for 3 at the end. Is that right? 82 for 3 at the end of the 9th. At the end of the 9th, Sussex was 65 for 4. So Gloucestershire are ahead.
Yeah.
Duckworth Lewis is 75, which sort of confirms that. And they need 79 to win in 11 overs with 7 wickets in hand. You'd think from here, Gloucestershire ought to fancy themselves, really.
They should do. I mean, we probably thought that just at the point where they lost, well, first of all, Hammond and then Rulofsson earlier on, so they can't take anything for granted. But just in the last few overs, they've got themselves into a decent position, and it'll be helped here by Shadab Khan starting with a ball very wide outside the off stump, which is taken by Burgess, and wide is called and signalled by umpire White. In goes Shadab, bowls cut and a miss from Charlesworth. It's the second time that he's done that. I think this time it was a bit tighter and a bit flatter through the air from Shadab Khan, making that cut shot a bit trickier. In goes Shadab and bowls, and another cut shot is not made contact with by Ben Charlesworth, and he just got himself going, and now these last couple of balls have just got him out of a bit of good feeling at the crease again.
That's
That's wide outside the off stump. Yeah, and Burgess knocks it down. Shadab Khan's not happy about it.
I don't know why. That's clearly a wide. I mean, he's complaining to the umpire, but that was clearly a wide.
I mean, the way that Burgess kind of almost just stopped it like that in disdain, it almost gave it away. Shadab bowls wide outside the off stump. Charlesworth doesn't play. It didn't even bother to shoulder arms to it, but this time it's fine. It's fine.
Weird over.
Very strange over indeed. It's gone for 2 runs, but Charlesworth hasn't laid bat on ball yet. Shadab bowls, slog sweep attempted, missed by Charlesworth.
Could be
Goes
made.
off Burgess's gloves.
Oh no, with the wide will go.
Well, it could be an over where no runs are scored off
Yes.
the bat.
Yes.
Well, in fact, it could be an over where Charlesworth doesn't even hit the ball. This has been a strange old over. He's tried to drag him to the leg side, having tried through the offside. Shadab Khan bowls. He's moved across his stumps and played a very strange-looking reverse sweep. The stumps will hit at the non-strikers end. The ricochet will not go off to any cost. He did well to hit the stumps there.
That was McAndrew, yeah. Good,
but
well spotted.
The only danger with that is that the ball flies off somewhere for the overthrow, but this time, no. And it's a single, and Charlesworth will probably be quite glad to get himself up the other end. So 85 for 3, and Bracey now to have a go at facing up to Shadab Khan. He wants his fine third man to go even finer. Bracey does like a reverse sweep, but he's gone across his stump looking for the conventional sweep. And guess what? It's a swing and a miss.
Well,
what a strange over that was. 3 off it, 85 for 3. At the halfway stage, Gloucestershire needs 76 more to win.
They do. At the halfway stage, Sussex was 69 for 4. So Gloucestershire is still ahead. No sign of Ravid Bopara coming back onto the field. So that will give Sussex a slight problem in terms of who's going to bowl. Now, Finn Hudson-Prentice is going to get the honour of bowling. He didn't bowl last night down at Canterbury. That's where we were last night, Adrian. Forget where we've been after.
No, I know exactly how you feel, especially these days. You're almost kind of jet lagged after after some of the kind of turnarounds, especially because you've had that. Gloucestershire have had this earlier this season as well, with a nighttime afternoon double header.
Hudson-Prentice bowls. Is it you or me, Ed? I think
it's you.
Is it me? And a swing and a miss from Charlesworth down the leg side. He's been in for 29 balls for his 30, Ben Charlesworth. He's just got himself a bit bogged down.
Of course, I meant back-to-back rather than double header, I suppose. You know what I mean. 2 in 2 days.
So the run rate required up to 7.7 and over. Hudson-Prentice looks up towards us, sitting here in the media centre on a lovely sunny afternoon here on the south coast. He's in and bowls, and Charlesworth, well, he's going to get runs down towards fine leg. He might even get 4. He's rolling away towards the dugouts, and it is going to be 4 runs, but not at all where he intended it to go. And without being disrespectful to Ben Charlesworth, it's a strange innings. He's hit a couple of lovely shots, but he hasn't really timed the ball, has he? I mean, there's no way he intended it. He's rehearsing the shot. He was looking to play that through square leg. He's got 4 runs down to wide fine leg.
It was quite serendipitous, though, because I think that's actually the area that he probably should have tried to target, because there's such a gap there. We saw it in Gloucestershire's innings as well. Very difficult to defend.
And he's bowled. Oh, I'm not surprised. He's played all around a straight one there as Ben Charlesworth. A very, very strange innings. He's out for 34, and you could almost feel that coming with the last delivery that he faced, actually. He goes, and Hudson-Prentice back into the Sussex attack. Well, for the first time, he bowls Ben Charlesworth. He's out for 34.
Yeah, a big swing and a big miss. So Charlesworth, he played a decent hand there just to stay there, although certainly did ride his luck. But again, you kind of think, well, he'd got the boundary. I think it was just the fact that to him, in the middle, it probably didn't feel as if he'd hit the boundary because he hadn't got it.
I agree.
He just wanted to feel the ball out of the middle of his bat. He'd missed, was it 4 in that over off Shadab, the previous one, and then another missed-time shot to start this over?
I just don't think he's looked comfortable for his entire innings. I mean, it was a strange innings of 34, but he scored the runs, and he's put Gloucestershire into a good position here. I mean, they only need to score at 7.6 and over, and he's 72 to win. There's 9 overs left after this. The skipper Van Buren is in. And in comes Hudson Prentice to bowl to Van Buren. He's in and bowls, and Van Buren covers up, plays out into the offside. Good delivery by Hudson Prentice, well pitched up. Van Buren plays it away into the offside. There is no run. Still no sign of Bopara coming back onto the field.
Well, if Hudson Prentice keeps going like this, then they might not miss him too much. I mean, he's bowled very well so far.
Just wondering who's going to take over the captaincy. Anyway, in comes Hudson Prentice, bowling to Van Buren, who pulls this one to the leg side. There's runs here. There's at least 2. There could be 4, actually. It's going to run away. There's going to be 4 runs. It's a very short leg side boundary. There are 2 fielders guarding that leg side, but once it gets through the infield here, it rolls away so quickly down the hill. 4 runs to Graham Van Buren. 93 for 4.
And he still didn't really time it, did he? I mean, but actually, it's a sign that you don't have to, and I think the batters are just going to have to get used to the fact that it's not going to feel great out there.
Hudson Prentice in bowl. Full toss driven down the ground. It's just going to be a single on this occasion. Harrison Ward fields down below us. They won't come back for the second. It'd be silly if they do, because he's a good fielder, is Harrison Ward, who gets in the throw. 1 more to Van Buren. It is the end of Hudson Prentice's over, an over that cost 9 runs. And at the end of it, Gloucestershire are 94 for 4, with Van Buren on 5. Bracey seems to have been there forever on 4, but he's only faced 6 balls. At the same stage, Sussex were 82 for 4. So 82 for 4 Sussex, 94 for 4 are Gloucestershire. And it is going to be Harrison Ward who's going to be bowling his off-spin from the Cromwell Road into the ground. Now, I'm wondering who is in charge here for Sussex. I'm just sort of looking around to see. I'm quite surprised that Shadab hasn't
Mills is doing a lot of pointing at extra cover.
Possibly. He would be the senior pro out there.
Whether he's just setting up the angles, I don't know. Captaincy by committee, potentially. So it's Ward to bowl. Van Buren drives, beats Mills at extra cover. It will go for 4. He hit it hard, and it was an awkward one for Mills there, because it was sort of slightly hard volleying him, and it has been timed superbly by Van Buren. Having said that, you're not going to time many. He's got that one away very hard and to the boundary. 63 runs required off 53 balls. Ward bowls, Van Buren drives it hard again. This time Mills does get down and stop it. He's extra cover.
Key position there, aren't you? Bowling, fielding at extra cover for the spinner.
Especially with Ward bowling full and wide.
Yeah.
Ward is into bowl, it's down the leg side. Van Buren just watches it past his left leg and a wide signalled. Makes it 99 for 4. Ward trying to rush through this over. Bowls a full toss outside the off stump. Van Buren's missed out there.
Lucky
He's driven it down towards long off, but that should have been going over the extra cover boundary for at least 4 runs.
I agree.
Potentially even 6 of them. Be a bit cross to have missed out there, because that's the sort of delivery where you should be able to take that ball on, and you shouldn't be finding a way to get out to that sort of delivery. Ward bowls to Bracey, chops at it and hits into the ground and back towards the bowler. So a dot ball for Ward. Bracey trying to play that cut shot that Gloucestershire have found very tricky against the spinners from that Cromwell Road end. Ward bowls to Bracey, back onto his stumps, pushing away out towards point, but alert fielding there from Carter. Yeah. There's no run again. So boundary early in the over, but again, as Sussex have done all innings, Ward so far pulling it back. Bracey's gone for the reverse ramp this time, and it just beats the dive of short third man and goes for 4 runs. So a key boundary there, you feel, off the last ball of the over. Bracey got into position very quickly there, used what little pace there was on the ball, and it just beat Carvelis at short third. It teased him as it went by. And it's 104 for 4 at the end of 12 overs, so 57 required by Gloucestershire, 48 balls to get them in.
At the same stage, at the end of 12, Sussex 86 for 4. Just saying the test match is Zach Crawley out for 3. So England not off to the best start, 10 for 1.
This was the problem in a way. Were the top 3 going to keep scoring the runs they have been?
Shadab comes in and bowls. Oh, that's down the leg side. I can't see any. It's an appeal for the right. It looked to me like it pitched outside the leg stump, and I think that's exactly what Graham Van Buren is saying. You can't be out when it pitches outside the leg stump.
I'm sure Van Buren would just have fixed him with one of his trademark Cheshire Cat grins, and that would have been it.
Well, it's 10 out of 10 for enthusiasm, but you could see from here that I don't think it was ever going to be out. 104 for 4. Shadab in bowls. Van Buren hammers that down the ground. Down here, 2 long on, fielded by Harrison Ward. One more to the total. 105 for 4. So Gloucestershire here needing 56 to win. They need to score at 7.3 and over.
I mean, they'll want to try and break the back of this, Gloucestershire, but at the same time they've got Jack Taylor in next, but after that it's not quite as strong a lower order as it might be.
Shadab in bowled, reverse swept by Bracey. He's going to pick up, he might pick up 4 actually as a chase around the boundary. Doesn't get there, he's run away for 4 runs. Beat the despairing dive out there of Brad Curry, who's really quick across the ground. If he can't get there, probably no one can. And the total goes to 109 for 4.
He feels like a key wicket, Bracey, because he's the sort of player that I don't think will kind of go absolutely all out. He'll try, and so far he's tried to play these ramps, dinks, that sort of thing. He's just playing his game.
Shadab in bowls, driven away by Bracey into the offside, picks up a single. Curry comes in from under the clock tower scoreboard, gets in the throw, 6 off the over.
But you would think Bracey's natural game should be good enough, given the fact the required rate's 7 1/4 basically, and a bit over 7 1/4. But in fact, it's not. No, pardon me, it's 7.2. If I look at the right board.
Shadab in bowls to Van Buren, who cuts that away through backward point, picks up a single. Does Graham Van Buren? He goes to 12, and Gloucestershire to 111 for 4. They need exactly 50 to win. And there are 7 overs remaining after this. Run rate required is 7 and over. Exactly.
Finally looked at the right part of the board.
Yeah, they're going along at 8.7 and over at the moment. Shadab reorganising his field. Feel that Sussex need a wicket here. Shadab in bowls, braces forward, tucks that away onto the leg side, but it's a single. Could well be a leg bye. Let's wait for the umpire signal. Indeed, it is a leg bye. So the end of the over, the end of the 13th over, and Gloucestershire are 112 for 4. The equation is that they need 49 to win in the 7 overs. At the same stage, after 13 overs, Sussex were 98 for 4. Duckworth Lewis is 105. So it tells you that Gloucestershire are ahead of the game, but a couple of wickets can change everything. And Tamel Mills coming back into the attack, and that's because Sussex need some wickets.
Yeah. I think they realise they can't, even though it's not a huge partnership by any stretch, but it's just building enough that they really want to check what these two are building here. So Bracey on 13, and Mills left arm over in the bright sunshine to bowl to him. Bracey cuts backward of square on the offside. He'll get 1, and that will be it. Fielder gets the throw in on the bounce to the keeper. 113 for 4.
I mean, to be honest, from here you'd have thought this just needs sensible cricket from Gloucestershire, and they ought to win this relatively comfortably. 7 and over, quick outfield, 6 wickets in hand.
Yeah.
But if cricket were that simple,
we might as well all go home. Yeah,
absolutely. and there'll be a twist or two along the way.
Exactly. Mills bowls to Van Buren, who moves across his stumps and drives towards the edge of the circle. If the throw hits, he'll be gone, and the throw misses.
Wow, that was a chancy single, wasn't it? It was straight to Dan Ibrahim, who's on the field as a replacement for Ravi Bopara. My feeling was, and we're a long way away, we have no chance of telling, but just the reaction of the fielders was, if that hits, Van Buren was gone.
I think he was gone easily, wasn't he? This is not a single there.
Crazy.
The fielder's in way too close to. I mean, that credit to Sussex for having the fielder in that close, because they need dot balls, and it would have been a dot ball, but for a bit of really chancy running from Gloucestershire, but they've got away with it. In comes Mills. He's in and bowls to Bracey, who drives hard out towards backward point. It's stopped by Carter there for no run. Yeah, and he did well to keep it close enough to him as well, because it was exactly the sort of ball which has seen just spin off a couple of fielders' hands so far in this innings and still be a single. But as it is a dot.
Just reading in the test match that Ben Duckett was dropped on naught. He's still there, and then he was given out LBW, but on review he got away with it. So it was all happening up at Lord's. England 12 for 1. Zach Crawley out for 3.
47 needed from 39 balls by Gloucestershire here. Mills bowls to Bracey, short ball very wide outside the off stump. That will be wided. Mills is jogging back towards his mark. I don't know that Sussex would be potentially short on the cut-off time. I'm really chancing my arm trying to find that on the scoreboard, but the way that Mills is going back to his mark, it almost suggested that he was
17:22. It says they need to have completed it by.
Yeah, so maybe they do need to get a little bit of a
move
shift on. Yes, otherwise they'll have to bring an extra fielder up inside the circle. Mills bowls to Bracey, slower ball. Bracey's fooled by it and swings over the top of it with the attempted drive, and it's a dot ball through to Burgess.
I think we can say fairly safely that Wapara isn't coming back on. He's been off the field for some time now, having hurt his hand, stopping a drive that was absolutely hammered back at him, I think by, was it Bracey?
Oh gosh.
Either way,
that's poor. I should be able to remember that.
He just dropped the ball and walked off, so he's clearly hurt his hand in some way, Ravid Wapara. Let's hope it's not too bad.
Yeah. Mills charges in once more to bowl to Bracey. Bracey swings, doesn't get it, up towards mid-on. They'll get a single. There won't be a throw from the fielder there. And Bracey gets up the other end, moves to 15, 116 for 445 more runs needed.
I just feel like, Gloucestershire picking up the singles there. They'll probably feel that. I guess that with Tamel Mills, maybe you're thinking to yourself, we just need to see Mills off here.
Yeah, I think, especially given the fact they've got to get some more overs out of some combination. They've got to get another over out of that Ward-Hudson-Prentice combo at least. Yeah. In comes Mills and bowls. Van Buren drives up to mid-off. This is going to be another tight run, and the throw misses from mid-off. Is that Ibrahim again?
I think it is Ibrahim again, yes.
He had more stumps to aim at this time. Van Buren might have made that one, but I think that would have been a pretty close decision for umpire White if the throw had hit. So Gloucestershire are looking a little bit frantic in terms of their running between the wickets in that over. They need 44 more to win from 6 overs.
Ibrahim, I think, has gone off. Does that mean Wapara's come back on?
Yeah, he's there, isn't he? He's preparing to. Oh no, it's Shadab is preparing to bowl. But I thought somebody else went off as well a couple of overs ago, but I wasn't sure.
Right, so where's Wapara fielding? Well, in comes Shadab, comes in and bowls to Van Buren, who pulls, and he's going to pull away. That's going to go for 4 runs, I think. It's down the leg side. It's a poor ball from Shadab Khan. First ball over. It releases an enormous amount of pressure when a boundary comes off the first ball of the over, because the previous over from Mills only went for 5 runs. So Sussex are feeling they're back in it. Then the first ball of the over goes for a boundary, and it's now 40 to win for Gloucestershire in 5 overs and 5 balls.
Yeah, 40 off 35.
And the run rate required down below 7 and over. Shadab in again, bowled to Van Buren, who hammers that one down the ground. He could get 4 more here. Carter with a diving slide on the boundary, but he can't get there. It's belted away, and this is a good over for Gloucestershire. Back-to-back boundaries, and Graham Van Buren playing a handy hand. He's 22 off 13, 125 for 4, 36 needed to win for Gloucestershire.
And again, it's a very safe shot from Van Buren. He's played a terrific hand so far, even if it's only 22. He needs to keep going, though, from the Shire's point of view.
Shadow comes in again, cut away, and he's given out. Given out LBW is Graham Van Buren. I presume it's LBW. He's looking to cut that one away through backward point. He's hit on the pad. And just as we think the game is going Gloucestershire's way, a wicket goes down and Van Buren goes for 22. And Gloucestershire are 125 for 5.
Well, that'd be a twist, didn't there?
We thought there might be a twist.
There always is, and especially, like I say, because of the fact Gloucestershire haven't got the lower order that they potentially might like to have, given the bowlers that they've picked. And if Jack Taylor were to come and go quickly, or perhaps even more so if James Bracey were to be out, who's on 15, then yeah, things start to look quite tricky. I mean, looking at this LBW shout again, it's one of those where it certainly has hit him on the pad.
Yes.
There's no question about that as he's tried to cut. The question was whether the pad was in line with the off stump or not, and well, I'll leave that to anybody who can see it as to whether they think it was in line or not, I think.
Yeah. Well, Shadab's going to come in again, so he's got 3 balls. So this over has gone 4-4 wicket. And just as Ed was saying, well, it's a good start to the over, but they need to capitalise it. The required run rate is 6.5 and over. In comes Shadow over the wicket. Bowls to Taylor, who sits on the pad. Is that another one? Is he given out? No, he's not. He was dancing down the wicket with Shadab Khan, and now I can see where Ravi Bopara is. He's in there at backward. What is that? Hudson Prentice there at backward point.
There must be two subs, or must have been two subs on, and now there's only one. I don't know where the other one is. I thought that looked more out than the last one.
Well,
but again, we're just slightly off angle here, but it looked like a good shout.
He did. Shut up, in again, bowls. Taylor hammers that away on the leg side. Is he going to get a single? He might get a boundary. He does get a boundary. Well, he's got Brad Curry out there on the leg side. He's got, two very quick fielders out there, and he's just sped away for 4 runs. He's got Nathan McAndrew and Brad Curry out there, so 12 off the over. He's picked up a wicket. It's an expensive over. Taylor again just relieving the pressure. 32 needed to win by Gloucestershire. Shadab in again, bowls, and Taylor's out again. That's huge. That is huge. Monster hit over the corporate hospitality, and that's 18 off the over from Shadab Khan, who takes his cap and wanders away. But Jack Taylor comes in 4-6, and all of a sudden Gloucestershire need 26 to win off of 5 overs.
Wow. I didn't think that would be the way that it would go. I really didn't. I mean, he obviously he was looking for the ball that was right on that length, and Shadab will be livid with that. He'll be livid with both balls to finish the over, because I mean, to be fair to him, I don't think that one that got hit for 4 was that short. It was quite well placed by Taylor, but then he's gone, well, I've got to be fuller.
Yes.
And then he's gone, I'm afraid, towards the very centre of that box that they draw on the television pictures, the slot, and Taylor was in clearly the frame of mind where he was just going to take advantage of it, and Gloucestershire have seemingly broken the back of this now. But
you never know.
You never know. Well, you certainly never know here. Mills bowls to Bracey, who drives out into the covers. Should get at least 1 here. They will come back for a second run. Taylor's going to have to hurry here and makes it.
They were a little
bit. It was in the end, but I just thought they were a little bit slow off with that first run, and it might have made things a little bit easier. But as it is, they have made it back. So it's 24 needed from 29. Now, let me take you back to this fixture a year ago, Adrian. Sussex needed 28 runs from 39 balls with lost. 8 wickets in hand.
And lost.
I didn't want to remind you, but I will now, because it's just worth reminding that games can be lost from that position. Bracey gets a bit of an inside edge on this one, down towards backward square, and picks up a slightly ropey-looking single.
Just to say, Ollie Pope is out for England. England 13 for 2. Stark with both wickets. James Bracey's played a very good innings here. Just a steadying influence. What is he? 18 off 18 balls, but he's looked in good nick. He's been very calm. The runs have come at the other end. I think it's been a good knock.
Yeah, somebody had to play that innings.
Knock. Yeah, I agree.
And I think Van Buren actually did before he got out. I mean, the cut shot's a shot that brings him a lot of runs, and every once in a while he gets out to it. So it wasn't as if he was playing a silly shot to get out. In comes Mills, bowls to Taylor, full, slow, wide, driven straight to backward point, and there won't be a run. Everybody in very close now. They have to pick up 2 or 3 dot balls and over Sussex. Obviously they need wickets, that's the big thing, but they have to build pressure up through dot balls, and everybody has to come in on the offside and be looking to save runs.
I mean, really, it's never easy against Tamal Mills because he varies his pace. You'll probably find the next one will be an absolute rocket delivery, but if you can just nudge one onto the leg side here and pick up a single, that might be the tactic for Gloucestershire.
Mills bowls. Taylor gives himself some room, tries to flick it into the leg side where there is nobody saving the single on the ring, but he can't free his hands enough, and it's played back to the bowler.
The other thing for Sussex in this game, we know that Sussex need to win if they're... sorry to be talking about Sussex, Gloucester fans, but Sussex need to win this game, but they need to win it convincingly as well because of run rate purposes. The most important thing is that they win and then see what everybody else does. But this if Sussex are going to win, it's going to be tight, very tight. 23
needed from 26 by Gloucestershire. Taylor on 10, facing up to Mills, who's there now to bowl, cut over the top of backward point for 4, and that is the one delivery that you really could not bowl with that field, short and wide, with third man and backward point up. Taylor's got a free swing of the bat there, and he gets 4 runs, and Gloucestershire need 19 to win.
Well, Gloucestershire will kick themselves all the way back to where they're playing Southampton tomorrow,
Yes.
aren't they, against Hampshire? If they don't win from here. 19 needed, 5 wickets in hand, 4 overs after this one.
Yeah, well, they
batted very well.
They need wickets. Sussex,
they do.
No two ways about it now. Last ball of Mills's over. He bowls to Taylor, who drives past mid-off. That is a handsome shot from Jack Taylor. It's just the way that he gets that bat picked up when he's on song. You just think that every time he brings it down, it's going to connect and connect well. And back-to-back boundaries to complete that over. And Gloucestershire now need 15 runs off the last 4 overs. Time for a bit of Sweet Caroline. Cheer the crowd up.
Yeah, and just by means of comparison, at the end of 16 overs, Sussex were 132 for 5. So actually 146 for 5 isn't a big difference. But you have to say Gloucestershire in those last couple of overs. That's when Hudson Prentice got out, and then Sussex suddenly had to take things easy. Burgess hit 18 off the last over, but it's going to need some sort of a minor miracle here for Sussex. 146 for 5, 15 to win off 4 overs, 3.8 an over needed. James Bracey's on strike, he's on 18 off 18. In comes McAndrew bowls, and Bracey hammers that one away over extra cover. I think that could run away for 4 runs. Harrison Ward's in hot pursuit, he can't get there. Lovely shot by James Bracey, just rolled the ball away over the covers. 11 needed to win, and all of a sudden this is looking very comfortable for Gloucestershire.
Yeah, I mean, it's another classy shot, isn't it, from Bracey? And again, I mean, these are 2 players in Taylor and Bracey who've missed some time during this campaign. Taylor giving up the captaincy, Bracey not picked for a couple of games. But the county, Gloucestershire, need these 2 players, and they're looking in far better touch here.
McAndrew in bowl, short pulled away, and that's going to go away for 4 more. No, it's not. Hudson Prentice very quickly round on the boundary edge, gets in the throw, but it's another single to James Bracey. He goes to 22 of 21, 51 for 5. And I say credit here to Gloucestershire, because they've come here today with absolutely nothing to play for bar pride, and they've shown a lot of respect for the competition. They've played this hard, and they look like they're going to win pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much reached the stage now where Gloucestershire just want to get it done as quickly as possible.
10 to win for Gloucestershire, who go to Hampshire tomorrow, and they can still have a say in who goes out of this group, you know. In comes McAndrew, that's horrible delivery wide of the off stump. That's going to be a wide and an extra ball. 9 needed to win, because Hampshire, I don't think, are certain of a place.
They're in a position where if Kent and Essex were both to win, they could still be overhauled. Yes. But Hampshire have got a better net run rate.
Yes.
Yeah. So for Essex to overhaul them, Essex would have to have a huge win, and Hampshire a decent-sized loss as well, you'd think.
Yeah. McAndrew runs away from us, in and bowls, and Taylor hammers that one away, and that's 4 runs. I'm afraid this is turning into a procession now as far as Sussex are concerned. Another boundary. He's played a little gem here, Jack Taylor, 22 off of 8, and Gloucestershire are cruising to victory here at Hove. 156 for 5. 5 more runs needed to win. I think I should probably hand the microphone to you, Ed, because it could be a 6 to win. Just 5 to win needed now, and I think the game pretty much up for Sussex.
The way that Jack Taylor has played since he's gone out there, you wouldn't put it past him. So McAndrew is in to bowl to Taylor, wide of off stump swing, and
he was looking for a 6 to finish the game, wasn't he?
He made up his mind that was going to go in trademark Jack Taylor fashion over sort of wide long on for 6, and the ball was slow and wide and well bowled by McAndrew, because everybody knows in their meetings pre-match where it is that Jack Taylor likes to hit it, so you bowl it the opposite side of the stumps from there. Here comes McAndrew. He's there now to bowl to Taylor, full wide and smashed over extra cover. Fielder's done incredibly well to get close to that, but can't bring it in, and the scores are now level. Another powerful shot from Jack Taylor, who has just, I mean, he played pretty well, more than pretty well actually, against Somerset in his game back, made 42 from 33 deliveries to help get Gloucestershire up to what was a competitive score, ultimately not enough. But this has been Jack Taylor, really at his absolute belligerent best.
Well, it's been a super knock, hasn't it? Just when the acceleration was needed. We felt 160 gave something to bowl that was competitive, but maybe not match winning, and I don't think we were far off really. You know, Sussex are probably 20 runs short, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. So everybody's got to come in, but they've actually left a few fielders out on the leg side hoping for the catch. Scores are level. McAndrew is into bowl to Taylor. It's short down the leg side. It will be 5 wides to finish off the game, and it's a Gloucestershire win. They win by 5 wickets, and they have done so in the end with 3.1 overs to spare. And you just feel that once Sussex realised they probably weren't going to win the game, they got maybe a little bit deflated out there, and it's difficult when your hopes of qualifying were on the line and then they're taken away. But from Gloucestershire's point of view, as I think you've very magnanimously said throughout the broadcast, Adrian, they've come here today with a real purpose, and they bowled well. The one blemish was that catch of Rulofsson's in the covers, but he made up for it by getting Gloucestershire off to a quick start. And although nobody's actually gone on to make a big score in that Gloucestershire innings, pretty much everybody's got a 20 or a 30. There's 5 contributions in the 20s and 30s, all of them valuable. And whilst nobody kicked on for that big score, it's the kind of, I think, team batting performance which will give Gloucestershire a bit of confidence heading to tomorrow, where they'll hope to finish with a couple of wins in the campaign, and then for the cricket that's to come later on in the season.
Well, certainly from a Sussex perspective, they gave themselves a chance incredibly, really. Of the 14 games, they've had 5 wins, and 5 of those wins have been away from home, and just 1 of the wins have been here in the T20. So it's at Hove where the problem has been, but I think Paul Farbrace and the Sussex backroom staff know that there's a bit of work to be done on the T20 side, but they gave themselves a chance, they gave it their all, but a very professional and a very competent performance here from Gloucestershire this afternoon. So it's great to see you, Ed. Great to have your company.
Likewise. Well, I fear from your point of view you've still got it for another 5 days this season. I'm back here for the Royal London game, and another game in the Championship to look forward to at the end of the season between these two sides.
Yes, that'll be the last game in the Championship. That's at the end of September. So a disappointed crowd make their way away from Hove. Sussex have been beaten. Their T20 blast is over for another year. Gloucestershire head to Hampshire tomorrow. You can hear that game if you're a Gloucestershire fan or a cricket fan even